Yeah,
I saw him.
Oh, yeah. There you go. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. Great night's sleep. What about you?
I feel like
I believe I had a good night's sleep. My watch said I had an average.
You asked me a
night's sleep.
question. Can I answer it, please? I feel like a plastic bag
Oh, no. Talk to me.
blowing in the wind.
Yeah? And is there a punchline?
No, that's it. You asked me how I was doing.
And do you feel, as you blow in the wind, do you feel free or do you feel out of control?
Feel heavy.
You feel heavy.
It's full of shopping.
Shopping? Why? What
Yeah.
happened?
I have 6 cartons of milk in there.
Really?
Yeah.
And it blew away?
Yeah.
And that's how you feel?
Greg, you're a good crack. You know the crack.
Is there a punchline to that?
No, there wasn't. It was just a little thing we were... Hang on to fix these headphones.
I'm just trying to figure out if you feel in control or you feel free.
No, I feel
out of control.
I feel like a dove. No, listen to me. So here was the crack, right? Katy Perry has a song, Fireworks, right? And when
That's
Shannon
right,
brought me,
massive song, yeah.
she brought me to the attention of the lyrics. I never listen to lyrics. I know you do. She's Katy Perry. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag blowing in the wind? So I says, if somebody like you would say, how are you doing today? Just come out randomly saying, I feel like a plastic bag
Yeah.
blowing in the wind. But you asked me how I was doing and you started talking. You didn't. I had to bring you back.
All right. No, I just thought it was an interesting question. I thought it had some sort of underlying.
No, it didn't. It was just me acting the goofy noofy.
I'm sorry, Lee.
But
I
it was
should have
all right.
Lent into that
You know.
a bit more, shouldn't I?
Well, you did all right. You played it out.
All right. And that's that then. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't be podcasting that link.
No, I don't think so. No. No, we won't. Come here, have a good show, right?
Lee, take
It's
care
only
of
going to
yourself.
get better from here on in, you know. There's only one way up.
All right, good man. Good luck. Okay, it is the Nigel Loon Show here. And if you'd have given me some forewarning, I could have played with you on it. I don't understand it though. All right, okay. All right, then it is 9 o'clock. It's time for a news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Enterprise Minister Peter Burke says he understands the disruption Storm Eowyn has caused for many businesses across the country. He says his department is closely monitoring the situation and engaging with the National Emergency Coordination Group and local enterprise offices to assess and address immediate challenges. Approximately 18,000 homes, farms and businesses remain without power this morning. The situation in Donegal has improved significantly. Power Check now shows 10 customers out in Carndonagh with an estimated restoration time of 9 o'clock tonight and 12 out in Ballyshannon with an estimated restoration time of tea time on Friday. ESB say technicians from Austria, Finland, France, Britain, Germany and Norway are now on the ground helping to restore connections in the worst affected areas, which are mainly centred around the Galway, Mayo, Roscommon and Sligo areas. The Vice Chair of North West Muckra, Queen McCabe, however, believes that the government should have acted much faster.
When this storm was forecast, I think Ireland's government should have put in an emergency response and requested the people to come over from Austria, the UK, Germany, France to help. They are helping, but it's taking a long time. Then people down in West Cavan, if the forest hasn't even been taken off the lines yet, when will they get power back? Because it's not fair.
Foyle Emulation Ed McLaughlin says there are still questions to be asked about the circumstances surrounding the allocation of over £710,000 for sports and PE facilities at Lisneal College on the waterside, including the provision of a new football pitch. Questions have been raised this week about the circumstances under which the decision was made, particularly at a time when a number of schools in the area have serious structural issues which need to be addressed, but there is no funding available. Education Minister Paul Givan said he had no role or involvement in the decision, which was made by the local education authority. He suggested that Ms McLaughlin review her focus as an MLA.
What I would do is say to the member who represents the Foyle constituency, if you haven't been, and maybe you have because I don't know, go to Lisneal College. Speak to the principal about his feelings and the school's feelings around the way in which her party and others have responded to this. Try be an MLA for all your constituents in the Foyle, not just one particular section.
Well, responding, Ms McLaughlin said there are a number of issues that need clarification, including whether there had been a full application for the funding and why the department's own website says the upper limit for minor works is £500,000, when according to the minister, that's been doubled to £1 million. She rejected any suggestion that her concerns are rooted in politics or sectarianism.
I really am hurt and angry that there would be any suggestion that I would have any sectarian modus operandi against any constituent in my in Foyle or anywhere. It is just not in the fibre of my being, and I reject that that was made on the floor of this House. Thank you.
The Taoiseach says displacing Palestinian civilians would be in clear contradiction of UN Security Council resolutions. Simon Harris's comments come after Donald Trump claimed he would like to see the US take over Gaza and own it. The US president said he would transform the area into the Riviera of the Middle East, while the Gazan population could relocate to areas around Egypt and Jordan. Well, Taoiseach Simon Harris says international attention should be focused on supporting the people of Gaza instead.
It's very clear the direction of travel here. We need a two-state solution, and the people of Palestine and the people of Israel both have a right to live in states safely side by side, and that's where the focus has to be. Any idea of displacing the people of Gaza anywhere else would be in clear contradiction with UN Security Council resolutions.
Well, the forecast largely dry and bright today with sunny spells and light winds, some cloud at times in the afternoon. The odd shower possible, most places will stay dry in highest temperatures of 7 to 9 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. Back with news in full at 9 o'clock.
Okay, take the next right.
Sure.
Not this right, the next right.
This is the next right.
Watch out! I meant the next right after this right.
What?
For when a right turn becomes a wrong turn. Get car insurance you can be confident in with An Post Insurance. Go to onpostinsurance.ie or call us today. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. One Direct Ireland Limited, trading as An Post Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of An Post. Best price online.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to Wednesday's 9 till Noon Show. It is the 5th of February 2025. How are you all doing out there? I hope you're keeping very well indeed, and hopefully we'll keep you informed and entertained over the next 3 hours. We've got loads coming up on the show. Speed limits. The speed limits change on Friday. I've got so many questions about this whole process. We're going to get answers for you today. We have the Roads Department of Donegal County Council, who in fairness have been flat out over the last week or so, rebuilding, I suppose you could say, from Storm A1. We're going to be speaking to Brian a little later on to get answers to your questions. If you have any questions about the changing speed limits, please get in touch with us now, 086 60 25,000. Staying on the roads, by the way, if you are travelling to work or school or to an appointment, the Milford to Kilmacrennan Road is closed now due to a road traffic collision. I'm not sure the extent of that collision. We will, of course, keep you up to date on this programme and on news bulletins. But just for those of you travelling at the moment, the Milford to Kilmacrennan Road is closed due to a road traffic collision. More info on that just as soon as we get it right. As I say, plenty coming up on the show today. We want you involved in every which way. I'm going to start off with plugging watching the show, by the way. It might suit you. Maybe you're at home. Maybe you work from home. Maybe you're at work in the home. And you've got a smart TV. If you've got a TV in the last few years, it's going to have the YouTube app on it. Many of you have Fire Sticks as well, of course. We're on the YouTube app, so you can watch us in the corner of your front room or up on the wall above the fireplace. Just open the YouTube app, type in Highland Radio Ireland, and we're there for you as a television show, I suppose you could say. You can also watch us on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituaries on the X platform, and by clicking Watch Live on our website. Now, also, too, we want you involved in the conversation, 086 60 25,000. I mentioned that number. That's for text and WhatsApp, but give us a call on 074 91 25,000, or if you want to email, comments at highlandradio.com. If you're a podcast devotee, you listen that way, make sure to email if you wish, or WhatsApp. And also that applies to you if you're listening overnight, as many of you do, and we appreciate and love all of you. Right, let's have a look at the newspapers. I'll start with the local this morning, the Finn Valley Voice. Ireland's most successful sprinter and a two-time world champion says his greatest strength wasn't that he ran 400 metres. His greatest strength was that I showed an element of vulnerability. Mental health is a priority for Olympian David Gillick, special guest at the 2024 Sports Star Awards in the Mount Ergel Hotel on Friday night. Now, bad news for our ESB bills, potentially. I think someone texted into the show saying that we're going to pay the price of Storm Awen. And I'm not sure if I discredited it or I said they're rich enough that they should be able to absorb it. I'm not quite sure of my reaction, but I perhaps didn't give the text the weight it deserved, because it is coming to pass. The Daily Mail tells us that Electricity prices may need to be increased as a result of the devastating storm A1 that ESB has warned. ESB Chief Paddy Hayes said the severe weather event will most likely have knock-on effects for customers' pockets next year. The news comes as more than 25,000 customers remained without power yesterday, 11 days after the storm on January 24th, hundreds of them in Donegal. Over 1,600 payments have already been made under the government's humanitarian assistance scheme. The average payment per claim is currently running at just under €200. Well, Mr. Hayes said that the full assessment of costs for customers will be looked at next year. It's likely that those charges which are allowed there will find their way back into the overall cost of our distribution network. There is a cost associated by this that will be borne across the electricity network as a whole. So already we're paying some of the highest electricity rates in this country. A third of our power is green a lot of the time, and a lot of people don't really seem to feel the benefits of that. There's an awful lot of pressure on businesses with their ESB bills as well, and it looks like we could end up picking up the bill. Is that right? Is that fair? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. All the papers carry a very sad and tragic story, and I just wonder if it kind of holds a mirror up to society, the way we live our lives now, the way we're kind of siloed sometimes, the way we maybe don't check on each other as much as we used to. Maybe that sort of sense of community right across the country. We're losing that in pockets, and I'm sure there are places and people listening that would say, well, that's not the way it is in our area, but we're seeing more and more cases where people tragically die and they go undiscovered for a very long time. And I just can't imagine it happening 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. But I know some of you listening are old enough to remember, and perhaps you can correct me where I'm wrong. But the Irish Times is the paper I'm reading from. Gardaí expect post-mortems examinations today will confirm that a man and woman found in their home in County Kerry yesterday died from carbon monoxide poisoning in an apparent double suicide. The bodies of the couple, named locally as David, 52, and Hazel Byrne, 51, were found by members of the Kerry County Fire Service when they entered the couple's bungalow home at Mountain Stage outside Glen Bay on the Ring of Kerry. Locals had gone to check on the couple and found a notice on the door warning people not to enter because of carbon monoxide, and they immediately raised the alarm. Gardaí requested the assistance of a Kerry County Fire Service. Firefighters wearing breathing apparatus entered the house and found the bodies of the couple in a bedroom. Once the house was vented and made safe, Gardaí preserved the scene and requested the services of a state pathologist. It's understood that their bodies may have lay there undiscovered for up to 6 months. As I say, I just wonder if that kind of holds a mirror up to us. On to a story that's not based in Ireland, but it's one I know many of you are following quite closely, and this is the story of Lucy Letby. Now, she has been absolutely hammered in I suppose, the court of public opinion, and some would say quite rightly so, because she received 15 whole life orders for the murder of 7 infants and the attempted murder of 7 others. Now, this is the most horrific of crimes, isn't it? Young, innocent babies, the person that is charged with caring for them, potentially ending their lives. I've watched a couple of shows on this, a drama and a documentary, and the way it was presented, absolutely horrendous. But there seems to be a growing movement suggesting that maybe this person is not guilty. And I read from the Irish Independent: a convicted child serial killer, Lucy Letby, did not murder 7 babies at a hospital neonatal unit. A panel of medical experts has claimed in a report that found each infant had died from natural causes and poor medical care. Dr. Shu Lee, who assembled a panel of 14 experts, including world-leading neonatologists, in a review of medical evidence in the case, concluded we did not find any murders, as her legal team submitted their findings to the Criminal Case Review Commission. The former nurse, who's 35, is serving 15 whole life orders for the murder of 7 infants and the attempted murder of 7 others between June 2015 and June 2016 at the Countess of Chester Hospital, but has continued to protest her innocence. Now, there's never ever going to be any winners in this case whatsoever. But just imagine if she were found to be innocent, however that might happen. and those children did die of natural causes or through medical negligence. Look at all of those families that would be impacted. Maybe they have come to terms with the fact that this person did take the lives of their babies, and the fact that she's in prison maybe was some sort of a way that they could sort of move forward with their lives. But if that rug is pulled from under them, I'm just thinking on them and how they might feel. It's very, very complicated. But that being said, Dr. Shu Lee did give evidence, I believe, in Lucy Letby's favour, and it was he that assembled this panel. So I don't know if people would question its independence, but be that as it may, it's a story that runs and runs, and I know many of you do follow that. Interested in your views as well, Donald Trump has come out with really quite a remarkable statement. He wants to clear out Gaza effectively. He wants to ethnically cleanse that area, which is all you could really describe it as. He says, and he was sitting beside Benjamin Netanyahu when he said this, and it was quite interesting. He's calling him Bibi, and he pushed his chair in behind Mr. Netanyahu. It's astonishing the power that this man wields. But anyway, he suggested, sitting beside Netanyahu, that this place was just a building site now. It had been levelled, it's rubble, there's nothing to go back to, sitting beside the person responsible for doing this. And he's actually suggesting that there's nothing to go back to. He wants Gazans, Palestinians, to be moved out en masse, completely cleared of Gaza, resettled in neighbouring countries, and then to go in effectively and take over Gaza and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East effectively, because there's massive beachfront potential and all that kind of stuff. No word of if Gazans would have any, I believe that's the collective term, no consideration of what they might want in this situation, no suggestion that they may ever be able to return. This is a group of individuals, their ancestors have already been shifted out for the creation of Israel in the 40s, the 1940s that is, and here we are in modern day, talk of the same thing again. I'll read the story and invite your comments. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has met Donald Trump at the White House, where Donald Trump suggested relocating every Palestinian into another country. I don't think people should go back, Trump said. You can't live in Gaza right now. I think we need another location. I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy. Trump has previously called on Egypt and Jordan to resettle Gazans. Both countries have flatly rejected such proposals. We look over the decades. It's all death in Gaza, Trump said. This has been happening for years. It's all death. If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes where they can be happy and not be shot and not be killed and not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza, sitting beside Benjamin Netanyahu. He didn't reject the idea, said it was an idea worth considering. But really quite remarkable times we live in. As I mentioned, road users have been urged to prepare for Ireland's updated speed limit changes. Officials say these changes aim to reduce road deaths and serious injuries by 50% by the end of the decade. Key updates outlined in the Road Safety Strategy 20 that runs to 2030 include the reduction of default speed limits on local and rural roads. Some of that kicks in on Friday. Local roads will see a reduction from 80 kilometres an hour to 60 kilometres per hour. Brian Cannon from Donegal County Council is going to be joining us in less than 5 minutes just to run through that for us. So we're absolutely clear on it. The one thing I would say, and this is not a fault of Brian or the teams, the lack of information has been unbelievable in relation to this. A massive change really in everyday lives. Maybe I'm overstating it. I don't think I am. And there's been very, very little public information in relation to it. Very finally, if you're a soap fan or not a soap fan, this is either good news or bad news, dependent on which category you fall on, and there'll be mixtures of views within that, because Coronation Street and Emmerdale are having major shake-ups, including less time on your screens. Both programmes are changing to 5 half-hour instalments per week, all from Monday to Friday. It means the combined weekly output for ITV soaps will fall from 6 hours to 5. Corrie currently airs for 3 hour-long episodes a week, while Emmerdale has 4 30-minute instalments and one of an hour. ITV believe that people are struggling to stay focused for the hour, And also it interferes with other programming as well. So it's going to be half hour for each 5 days a week. That's what we're being told. All right, that was our run through some of the stories in the papers today. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after this short break.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Hi, mate. Is your brother still in hospital?
He is, yeah. He's 3rd-degree burns everywhere, so he's facing years of surgery.
Does he know he missed the funeral?
No, he hasn't woken up yet.
Ah, no.
Yeah. Whatever about the surgery, he'll never recover from that.
Always check your smoke alarm and do everything you can to stop fire starting, because once it does, it will stop at nothing. Find out more at fireireland.ie. A message from the Government of Ireland.
The Smart #1 comes with more. More space. Like, much more. More room for kids, shopping, luggage, even the dog. More tech. More of that Mercedes-Benz design with up to €9,800 savings and 0% finance. It's the all-electric Smart #1. Now with more car. Find out more at smartelectric.ie or visit your local Mercedes-Benz dealer while stocks last. €9,800 saving includes 3,500 SEAI grant, 3,500 Smart Sustainability promotion and 2,800 applicable VRT relief.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of gamers play with friends online. Our full fibre broadband, available in every county across Ireland, means they can stay connected no matter where they are.
Connor, cover me. I'm going in!
Every connection counts, which is why Ireland can count on our network. Vodafone. Together we can.
Subject to coverage availability. Limitations and terms apply. See vodafone.ie/terms.
Restex Beds, celebrating 50 incredible years of helping you dream better, sleep deeper and wake up refreshed. For half a century, we've been your trusted partner in comfort and innovation. And now, introducing the new Glenveigh mattress, designed with cutting-edge technology for ultimate support and luxurious comfort. It's the perfect way to celebrate our golden anniversary with the best sleep of your life. Visit Restex Beds today and experience 50 years of excellence. Restex Beds. Leave the rest to us.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Okay, the time now 9:20. Brian Cannon, Director of Roads Transportation with Donegal County Council. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Greg.
I want you to treat me now like I'm a 10-year-old when we're going through this, right? Because I've tried to get my head around this, and I'm really conscious of putting out wrong information or confusing information. So it's really good that we have an opportunity to speak to you and clarify the whole situation. We're going to be talking about speed limits. Before we do, busy since Storm A1, all of your crews out and about. Obviously, there's the initial work that needs to go on, Brian, and then, ongoing stuff as well. It's been a busy time, I'm sure, for you and your crews.
Yeah, it's been a very busy time for staff and roads, but staff right across the council, Greg, in the response to Storm Éowyn. It was historic, really, in the impacts that it's had right across the country and the county. And but also, I think one thing was the public response. Also, public in many areas also assisted in others within their community that perhaps maybe were without electricity or water, etc. So it did bring a lot of people together, and hopefully we'll not have to face into another one for a while.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Right, now from Friday, we're seeing changes to speed limits. There's going to be 3 phases. We'll start with what's happening on Friday. So, rural local roads.
Yeah. So from Friday, the default speed limit in rural areas on local roads will change from 80 kilometres down to 60 kilometres per hour. And that's on all rural local roads in the county, with the exception of 4, because each local authority was able to bring in bylaws where it felt that due to the alignment of the road, the width of the road, etc., that the local road could stay at the higher 80 kilometre an hour speed.
All right, before you give us those then, so this doesn't apply to every signpost that's got 80 kilometres on it. No. This is just on Friday, the rural local roads.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a lot of roads, a lot of what we would consider our main roads within the county are regional roads. So that's the class, they're a regional road. and they currently have an 80-kilometre speed limit. So those roads are not changing. So an example of those regional roads would be the back of Errigal Road, would be the road from Letterkenny to Ramelton and on to Milford, and out to Rathmullen. Other regional roads would be the road from Frosses through to Kilrain or Glenties. So those regional roads are not changing.
And someone messaged in when we were talking about this, says, so that means that virtually the whole road network in Inishowen is going to be 60 kilometres per hour?
No, they're not changing. And in fact, they're actually some of sections, the section of the regional road from Muff past Quigley's Point is actually a slightly higher speed. It's judged to be 100-kilometre speed. So it's not changing. So if you think of Inishowen, you go from Bridgend into Buncrana, that speed limit is not changing on that road. The road from Muff through Quigley's Point onto Moville and Greencastle is not changing as a result of this. The road from Quigley's Point through Glentower into Cairndonagh is a regional road. It's not changing. It's the roads that come off that road are changing.
Right. So you talked about some exemptions to this. 4 have been identified.
Yes. Yeah. So the 4 sections of local road that are staying at 80 kilometres an hour is the Ardahi to Ardra road down in South Donegal, the old Sligo to Donegal town road between Lahi and Ballintra is staying at 80. The racecourse road from Muff to the border with Derry, and the Winhill road which goes from Bridgend over to the Burnfoot to Muff road, so from the 19th hole over to the Burnfoot to Muff road, they're all staying at 80. So that's a very small amount of roads when you consider all of our local roads. The rest of the local roads are all going to 60.
So I see Loch Salt in my notes here. Is that a local road?
Yes.
So that's going down to 60?
Correct. That's right. Yeah.
And then, say for instance, just stay with that road as it meets the road. Where would that meet? As it meets the road, sort of into Carragart and then on to Downings. Is that going down to 60, or are they now? We're onto regional road.
So from Creechla across through to Carragart and back into Milford is a regional road. So let's stay in at 80 under the front roads. Now, Greg, it may sound confusing, but there's going to be loads of signs on the road.
Of course. Do you know what the only confusion here is us determining, you know this like the back of your hand, what a rural road and a regional road is. But I think you've explained it quite clearly there. A regional road would be in rural areas, the arteries effectively, and then often, but not exclusively, the local roads are what branches off from that.
Yes, but also, as I said, we'll have loads of reminders. There's going to be, so where you branch off your regional road that still stays at 80 and you turn down your local road, you're going to have a sign that says 60 in front of you. Or if it's one of these local roads that's 3 or 4 meters wide with a bit of grass up the middle, and we do have some of those, it'll be a rural speed limit sign. It'll not be a number. So it's a white circle with 5 black diagonal lines. That signifies the default speed limit is 60.
Yeah. I don't think it's about people. I think at this point, a lot of the conversation we've had, Brian, or what a lot of the message we've had is how people will feel it will impact on them. In other words, will it slow traffic outside their house? They think that's great. Will it take them an extra 4 hours to get to work? That's bad. So, I know there'll be lots of great signage, and that's already begun. We've seen the signs out there already. And a lot of modern cars, too, they have the sign reading software or the cameras, so they'll know that themselves. I think people are trying to figure out what this might mean to them. But I think we've been pretty clear what Friday is. So then the next stage is what?
So the next stage will then be our urban centres, our towns and villages. And that is a process where there'll be consultation on later this year. So the public will be invited to get involved. So that may involve, or that will involve, some speed limits within our town and village cores going down to 30 kilometres an hour. So in our town centres or our village centres potentially going down to 30 kilometres an hour. But there's guidelines there, and our teams are working through each of the towns and villages, coming up with proposals. They will be discussed with our elected members. Then they'll be released for public consultation. So the public will get a chance to comment on all of those. And then those comments will be considered before there's any changes to be made. And then there'll be a further campaign.
Would you anticipate, without sort of, trying to predetermine the public feedback, would you anticipate the council seeking many exceptions to that, if that's the phraseology? Like, say, for instance, Duncanely, that's on it's kind of a relatively long town, but it is sort of straddling, an important road. Would you anticipate, as an example, people go, well, it would be a bit of an imposition to bring that down to 30, or maybe the people of Duncanely would say, listen, bring us down to 30 because we're sick and tired of the traffic flying through.
Yeah, well, I suppose without highlighting any town or village in particular, Greg, I could see examples where you will have what we determine main roads through towns and villages coming down to 30 kilometres an hour. Because we have to remember, for probably too long, our towns and villages have been dominated by the car and by the vehicle. And, in reality, we want, with active travel and people out walking, we want to encourage our kids to walk to school. We want to make the places safer. We need to improve safety. And one of those is reducing the speed limit in those towns and village goes down to 30 kilometres an hour. And that has happened right across Europe. And there are quite positive benefits. And when you think of the time lost travelling a relatively short distance at 20 kilometres an hour lower, it's really immaterial in your journey.
A caller says, "Hi Greg, if there's no chance getting caught speeding, then this is a waste of time. We really need cars to start driving around rural roads and even talk to the locals in those areas." Look, that's a policing matter, and it's not for me or Brian for that matter. But I presume this is about changing a mindset, right? It's not always about shooting fish in the barrel, but if whether it's this generation or future generations, that we accept that the speed limits are lower. Do you know what I mean? There'll always be a level of compliance. There'll be those that will ignore the speed limits, but I think this is in the first instance talking to those who might comply. But it's yet to be seen. Right. So urban areas and estates down to 30. That is later this year. Now, national secondary roads. This is another sort of area of confusion, because there are some brilliant national secondary roads that you would expect to stay at 100. There are others that you would welcome the reduction to 80. Has the consultation on that started yet, Brian?
No, and that'll probably be a third phase, Greg. And in the county, we have one national secondary road that basically forms a ring of our county. So that's the N56, which goes from Mountaintop out through Friesla, Dunfanaghy, Eudore, and Cloghanleagh, down through Glenties, Ardagh, Killybegs, and back into Donegal Town. So that'll be subject to a future, probably the third phase of the speed limit changes, potentially taking this current default from 100 down to 80. But that's yet to be determined, and that'll be it may well be sections. There may well be sections that, as you say, have been improved. That'll be viewed differently to other sections, but that's further down the road. So we'll concentrate on these changes.
But that'll be a biggie. That'll be a big because people. I think that's the area where people will want for us to get this right. Also, I've got no impact in it whatsoever. Where it's quite obvious that 80 would be a better speed limit, but people, especially getting to and from work, and the fact that we live in a rural country, would not like to see the speed. Would you anticipate that we might see the retention of 100 kilometres? On some of the obvious routes, like I'm thinking, Ballabafay to Donegal Town, for an example, or the N56 extends, doesn't it, from Donegal Town to Bundoran?
No.
What's that road? That's the N.
Primary.
That's the N14, right? Okay, sorry, yes. N14. This is why we have you on.
So they're national primary routes, and at present there is no plans to change those speed limits.
Right. Okay. This is getting really clear now. I know this might sound like I'm being silly, but I think this is working for all of us because I've had so many conversations. Our national secondary road effectively is the N56. and that loops, as you've already outlined, north from Letterkenny and around Creeslough and back down through Glentees and into Donegal town. I think people might obviously now start seeing themselves, right, that's that road. We can see where 80 would make more sense, and we would hope maybe in some areas 100 would be retained.
Yeah.
So the impact really here is not, I mean, hopefully it would have an impact in reducing death and serious injuries, but in terms of your day-to-day getting about, it's not massive changes for Donegal, is it?
No, we would like to think that there's not too many people doing more than 60 kilometres an hour anyway on a lot of our local roads. But one advantage that I see with it, Greg, is that every place where you have a local road or a group of local roads joining either a national road, or that's either national primary or national secondary, or a regional road, there will be a repeater sign to signify what the speed limit is on the regional road. So there'll be an 80 sign in front. So that'll be a constant reminder for people travelling on the regional road network that 80 kilometres an hour is the speed limit, and that's the speed limit that they should be staying at. So in my view, that'll help reinforce the speed limit on the regional roads, and on the national roads where you meet the national roads, there'll be 100 repeaters, so that'll help reinforce that. So it's to me, if you take it as the full package, there'll be more reminders out there about what the speed limit is on the road. And remember, the speed limit, it's not a target. It's you have to drive to the conditions of the road, but it does help us condition us as to the right type of speed of the maximum.
Just
speed.
some of the questions that are coming through. I'm not going to curate them because you know so much more about this than I do, Brian. What's the new speed limit from Convoy to Ballybofey Road at Kilross going to be? So that would be a local road, wouldn't it?
Well, no.
Sorry, that would be
that's a regional road.
A regional road, I beg your pardon.
So it's not changing. Convoy to Kilross is a regional road, and then it's a national primary from Kilross into Skidmore.
Right, just some of the comments I'll hold back. What about Letterkenny to Bridgend Main Road?
Well, that's a national primary, so that stays at 100 kilometres now.
All right, okay. When you go on a local road, there is a circle sign with black lines through it, and it just says go slow. What are they about? Now, why don't they have 60 on them, I wonder, Brian?
It's you might recall back in the noughties, the speed limits changed on national roads, and therefore that meant that, the speed limits changed on all roads that weren't national roads. So where the national road met a local road, and this could have been a 3 metre wide road with grass growing up the middle, there was a sign in some cases put on that road that said 80 kilometres an hour. People are thinking, why is that sign there? So you couldn't even do 30 kilometres an hour. So the rural speed limit sign came in to be used in those circumstances. So that just defaulted that was the rural speed limit. So that sign, whereas today that sign means 80 kilometres an hour, that sign from Friday means 60 kilometres an hour.
A caller says, am I correct in thinking that roads start with an R will stay at 80?
Correct.
Yep.
Unless that like Muff to Quigley's Point, which has a higher speed.
Yeah.
But
and a caller wants to know, can I view a map with the changes so I can get a better understanding of it? Has that been... well, some of it, obviously, phase 2 and phase 3, they haven't really even gone out to consultation yet. But in terms of phase, I mean, how would you do a map? Because there are so many roads that we're talking about here.
Yeah, well, as part of our consultation, Greg, and using our portal consult.donegal.ie, we had all of that information up online. It still is up online. So that's where the person could go and view a map. And one of the questions was in particular, what are our local roads? So we produced maps that showed all of the local roads in the county.
All right, well done. Brilliant. Okay. Brian, thanks so much. Is there anything that you need to clarify or add? Or
No, I suppose it's just road safety, Greg, and yourselves have been great supporters of different road safety campaigns. You know, we've had 15 fatalities on our roads in the country this year so far. We had 175 deaths nationally last year. You know, it's too many, and I think if we all just amend our driving behaviours, you know, we can see an improvement in general. So just keep plugging the road safety message.
Yeah, no, 100%, Brian. And listen, there's very few people sort of really against this. I think it's the lack of understanding of it, you know, and I think you've gone an awful long way there in clarifying an awful lot of the questions that were out there. So, Brian, for now, thanks so very much indeed. Take care. Bye. That's really valuable. I would sort of pride myself. I would try to have a good handling of a lot of stuff, but I'll tell you, it's becoming an awful lot more clear for me now what we're talking about, and thanks to Brian for that. Before that, it was really difficult to get information. I found it difficult to get information. Like, I wasn't sure if the consultation had started on urban areas and estates or national secondary roads. The proposals in stage 2 and 3, urban areas and estates down to 30 kilometres per hour. That's probably going to happen later this year. National secondary roads, that's really just the N56. And it just shows my ignorance in that it took me a while for the penny to drop that the N14 is not one of the roads that we're talking about here, because I was using that as an example, and it just shows my ignorance in relation to this, but I wasn't being given information that made it clearer for me. So the N56, effectively the ring road around the county, that would be reduced to 100 to 80, but there is provision to increase it or retain it at 100 where the road is deemed suitable. The N road, effectively the national road, is not to be affected, and a lot of the roads that you travel, the local roads, the rural roads, are staying as is, and then you've got the local roads that branch off, where you're likely to see a reduction. Now, someone's talked about signage, a lack of signage. We're going to see much more signage, as Brian talked of there. Obviously, there are the news signs or the change signs, but I think he referred to them as repeater signs. I'll go through some of your comments. Can I view the map with the changes? Got an answer for you on that. There's a total lack of signage on our roads throughout the country, never mind the county. Signage is too small. They're about the size of your dinner plate. Honestly, believe it's about gathering more revenue. If you've got, how do I say this without sounding insulting? In terms of the numbers as they're written on the sign, I don't think they're terribly small, and you would hope that if you're driving, you'd be able to read them. Driving at 60 kilometres per hour could cause more accidents, as many people may start looking into gardens and fields, etc. Hi, Greg. If there's no chance of getting caught speeding, then this is a waste of time. I read that a little earlier on. Are the new speed limit signs in place yet? Can we heed the signs? I've seen some of them. There are some 60s up where 80s used to exist. That work's ongoing. You might not be seeing them because they're perhaps not going to, the speed limit's not changing on the roads you may have thought they are. I have just one question about the new speed limits. Who's going to police them? Not enough Garda on the roads, i.e. never see a Garda checkpoint speed checks in the Carndonagh area. Another, when you go on local roads, there's a circle sign with black lines through it and it just says go slow. We answered that one for you. Stupid, bring down speed clocks on cars. Bring down speed clocks on cars. I presume they're saying limit the speeds on cars. Hi, Greg. I'm amazed at the lack of national media coverage over the speed limits. I feel that it shouldn't be coming in until proper signage is in place nationally. I never heard anything more ridiculous in my life. How are we expected to get information if we weren't listening to Highland? Is all signage going to be up by Friday? Well, this is, we're not sort of like a tag on to national media here. We aim to be your local, your national, your regional, and your international media. So we're going to keep you up to date with all that stuff. What RTE do or don't, or what Virgin do or don't do, I'm only concerned about what we do, and we try and give you all the information you need, whether you're travelling all around the country or just around your own local area. What about Letterkenny to Bridgend Main Road? We answered that. These new speed limits may or may not cause more deaths, but they will almost certainly cause more collisions. Also, many cars will be in third gear all the time, as that's the way they are built. Rechanging the speed signs, virtue signalling by people who have too much time on their hands, believes a listener. All right, once again, thanks to Brian for all of that. We will be going to our next guest after we take a break. Stay where you are.
An Advanced Healthcare Directive is a document which records your future healthcare decisions, including refusals and consents on treatment, surgery, medicines and resuscitation.
All adults, and particularly those using healthcare services, should make an Advanced Healthcare Directive
and give a copy to those who need to know.
For information on how to make your own Advanced Healthcare Directive, visit safeguardingireland.org. Protect your healthcare wishes from Safeguarding Ireland.
You can't predict a minor injury or illness, but you can be sure of a Fidia Letterkenny's MIU walk-in service. Our priority is to see all patients within 1 hour, from minor illnesses to cuts and breaks, sports and limb injuries to minor burns. A Fidia Letterkenny MIU, located in Scally Place. Accidents don't wait for an appointment, neither should you.
We all love to get the most out of things, like a sunny day, while it lasts. In Ireland, it can be hard to get enough vitamin D from the sun. But did you know that 90% of us also don't get enough vitamin D from the food we eat? The great news is, Avonmore Supermilk is fortified with vitamin D, helping us to absorb calcium for healthy bones and supporting the immune system too. Avonmore Supermilk, the most super our milk can be. Figures based on FSAI 2023 vitamin D study.
If you're ready to transform your space this spring, Foy's have the experts to make your dream design come true. Their interior design and paint colour consultants are there to help with free consultations throughout February. Whether it's a home makeover or a commercial project, they've got you covered with advice on paint, wallpaper, curtains, blinds and furniture styling. Plus, they're the largest paint stockists in the Northwest. Book your consultation today and let Foy's bring your interior to life.
Bridgend Bureau de Change is now open at Rafferty Circle K Bridgend for all your euro, sterling and dollars. Contact Bridgend Bureau de Change at Rafferty Circle K Bridgend. Planning a wedding or caravan fees to pay? Call into Rafferty Circle K Bridgend for all your currency needs. Bridgend Bureau de Change, the #1 Bureau de Change in County Donegal, authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
So I mentioned in the papers, convicted child serial killer Lucy Letby did not murder 7 babies at a hospital's neonatal unit. A panel of medical experts has claimed. And as I said, you know, quite a few people over here following that story as well. Wesley, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Greg.
Right, so you've been reading this story as well. 14 leading experts had some claim demolished the case against her. And says there was overwhelming evidence that this conviction is unsafe. Have you been following this story?
I haven't really been following the story, but it's what you said this morning on the radio. You were more or less saying that a bit sort of the parents to learn now that she might be innocent.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying they got a panel of experts who would say that anyway.
Well,
but you didn't exactly say that. But,
yeah, no, I know what you're saying. What I was saying is what one of the fellow that assembled the panel did speak in her defence, and what I was saying, sorry Wesley if I wasn't clear, some will look on at that and say, you know, well obviously he's gonna gather a panel of people favourable to Lucy Letby, but that doesn't mean that they're lying or they're being untrue.
No. But that's what I was the way you said it, you more or less said that, well, you know, the parents have come to the thing now that the children's dead and the scare's been guilty and all that. I think she should have a fair hearing. There's lots of people miscarriage of justice done before.
Yeah.
And I think the only ones who's going to fight for her is her defence team. And I accept, you know, she could be guilty, but she's pleading innocent, and she's I would rot in hell before I would plead guilty to something that I didn't do,
same.
just to get a shorter sentence.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, but you would. I know what you're saying. Maybe at the end of the day, the parents might get comfort in knowing the truth. But do you understand the point I was trying to make? That this could just reopen everything again and just add to their pain and loss another trial. And if she was found guilty, because then obviously their anger would turn towards the hospitals.
Oh yes, I accept that. Yes, I do. But I think at the same time, I think she should fight every time she can.
Yeah.
To prove if she is innocent, to prove her innocence. You know, what's left for her now?
And as you say, we're all too familiar with miscarriages of justice, that at the time it seems like an open and shut case, but then it's clear that, you know, the fix was in, or a person or persons were wrongfully convicted.
Yes. Well, some of the things there in court, they were saying that one time she was in the ward always on her own, and then discovered then that she wasn't always on her own. And, you know, there were sweet doubts there as well back at the start. But no, I think sometimes some of the doctors Others said she was, oh no, she's a grand girl. That's an actual death. And then somebody else said, no, well, no, I think there's something else, which I think is right as well. You know, that they should be looking at it.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be covering up things that happens in the hospital just to keep them safe themselves. We've seen that before in the past.
Well, you see, that could be it. She could be the fall guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. We'll
no,
watch
I just wanted to make that.
No, I do appreciate it, Wesley. It's great to hear your point of view. It's not a perfect phone line, but I really appreciate you ringing in. And thanks so much for that.
Yeah.
All right,
bother,
Wesley.
Greg. Thank you.
Care of yourself. As Wesley says, he's not saying she's innocent, but you know, the truth needs to be found. A caller says, as you discuss road safety today and speed limits, please highlight again the need for people to wear high vis when walking, regardless of the time, day or night. So dangerous, people walking on roads with no high vis. Also, it should be mandatory that any community venues being used for courses and classes for kids and adults may have adequate lighting in their car parks. Far too many dark or dimly lit car parks with kids being dropped off and cars coming and going. One thing I notice, and it really does worry me, is, and I see it every single day, and I see it every single day from different directions, is around about this time when young ones are on the side of the road waiting to get buses, they're in dark clothes, dark school bags, no high vis whatsoever, and they'd be darting across the road, or darting literally across the road, as I say, or stepping out of cars, and you can't see them. And often the parents are sitting facing traffic with the lights on, and that's blinding you. You can't see what's coming up except just to go incredibly slow, and that's fine, but not everyone's going to do that. That's one area I'd love to see a little bit more high vis, even if they just take it off as soon as they get into the bus if it's not cool. But if you're standing on the side of the road waiting for a school bus, especially as we move to the time where it's semi-dark, bright, depends on the cloud cover and all that kind of stuff, I'd just be really worried about it, because I see a young lad ran across in front of me there the other day, pitch black, and he was in pitch black clothes as well. And it might seem the safest thing in the world standing on the side of the road waiting on a bus, but often as the bus approaches, that's when they run across, and I'd just be really worried about that. Hi, Greg. Is it just me? Does anyone else think the road between Killygordon and Stranraer, where the lorry went off the road a few weeks ago, is very, very dangerous? When two large vehicles meet, the whole verge is gone. Now it's another collision waiting to happen. Surely local councillors must pass this on the main road, or engineers be on that road as well. Whose idea was it to put new signs on every bridge on the R245 through Glenveigh National Park? A pristine wilderness now littered with road signs. The road is not even wide enough for two cars to pass, but it's 80 kilometres speed limit. Totally ridiculous, and ugly urban signs in the national park. A caller says, wind turbines were hit by lightning near Ballyshannon yesterday. Is that why those homes still have no electricity? No, there's many homes across the country without electricity. And I was reading an interesting article about the waste from wind farms. All the blades wear down over time, and there's nothing really they can do with them successfully. All right, a quick break, back with a final caller before 10.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment, all have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranraer. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Let's stay in and watch a film. Don't forget to switch the lights off. Will you pop the kettle on? It's freezing.
Switching things on and off this winter and searching for ways to save? Here's a switch that can really help. Sign up to one of our great value smart meter plans and save up to 30%. Visit electricireland.ie. EAB €1,199 based on 12-month home electric plus SST saver electricity. Discounted unit rates with online billing, direct debit and VAT. Smart meter required. Subject to change. T's and C's apply.
Got a hidden leak? AMG Leak Detection provides a professional plumbing service throughout Donegal and surrounding areas. Using the latest technology, we find and fix leaks quickly. No mess, no hassle. From pipes to drains, we're here to save you time and money. Don't wait for costly damage. Call AMG Leak Detection today on 086 236 2774 for a leak-free home. AMG Leak Detection. Detect, repair, protect.
Octavia, Fabia, Scala, Superb, Kamiq, Karoq, Enyaq, Kodiaq, petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, electric, HVO. So much choice, but not that much time. Whatever 251 Skoda you choose, you should order it now, because even though we have a wide range, they're selling fast. See what stock is left at skoda.ie and order yours today.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our new season special occasion wear range is here. Visit us to explore our extensive dress collection in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Largely bright and sunny today with light winds. A little cloud will drift in at times during the afternoon with perhaps the odd shower, but most places will stay dry. Temperatures 7 to 9 degrees, and that's kind of going to be the weather right through to the weekend. Cold at night though, so we probably will see the gritters out and need to be careful on the footpaths and roads, but the daytime will be dry and bright. Anthony's with me. Anthony, sorry for holding you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, you're out and about on the road. You're a van driver. What's your experience? What should we highlight?
Well, there's 5 or 6 manholes up along Donegal Street in Ballybofey, and they're none of them at all level with the road. The road probably was resurfaced or whatever and brought up or whatever, and the manholes are not level with the road or brought up to the surface.
And have you suffered any damage with them, or do you have the knowledge now to avoid them at this point? Not that you should have to, or...
No, I didn't really suffer any damage with them, but I busted 2 rims and 2 tyres on Chandran Bray on the 24th of November.
Right. And what was that down to?
The council... Well, the council was renovating the road or repairing the road or whatever, and they took the road over to the ditch, and the only way I could describe it was as like the shock of a horse drill plough, a stone sticking out of the side of the ditch, and everybody was hitting it. I lost 2 rims and 2 tyres, as well as 10 or 20 other people.
Wow. That was a one-off, though. That's cleared now, is it, Anthony? Would you suspect?
Well, that's as far as I hear. Since the council has been back on that road or whatever, and they have jackhammered the stone away or whatever the case may be, and I haven't been on that road since.
Would you claim for the rims and tyres from the council? You can do, Anthony, if the circumstances.
Well, actually, I went to Lifford that Tuesday morning, and they said. That they're not giving out any claim forms no more. You have to claim of the council's insurance.
Right.
But I didn't claim for it yet. But every time I had a bump or a bang on the road, it reminds me of my 2 busted wheels and 2 busted tyres.
I'm not surprised. And in relation to the manholes on the road in Ballybofey, that's an ongoing issue. It's been like that for some time. I think you make the point too, is how you're supposed to keep your van or your vehicle, fit for the NCT with roads like that.
Well, you have to. Well, when you take your van for the NCT, it has to be roadworthy to pass for the NCT and track road ends and one thing or another, and you have to have your tyres right and whatever else, and it's just an ongoing issue.
All right, okay. Yep. Listen, a lot of people agree with you. Thank you for that, Anthony. 08660 25,000 if you do. Good morning, Dolores. Good morning, Kathy. Anne says, worst road for speeding and passing out is the road from Muff to Carndonagh. John's watching in London. Hi, John. Good to have you on board. Mary Jo Bonner says, good morning, Greg. Listening earlier about the ESB and having a laugh. Sure, it'll be fair for everyone in Ireland to accept this, as the people of this country are so gullible. They need to change and stand up for themselves as they're being walked over by every organisation in the country. That being said, the ESB, Water, Phone, HSE, Fuels need to get with it, not like in the past anymore. All right, that's been a busy first hour. Lots and lots of comments on speeding and other issues, so stay tuned. We'll get to those as the show moves forward. Chris is in with business matters, news and that, and so much more besides. But let's take a break, because Donald Kavanagh is going to be with you very shortly with the latest news and obituary notices.
They say time equals money, so spend your money where you spend your time. No matter what your preference is, Cooney's Home Interiors has something to suit every taste and budget. With our extensive range of home furnishing to fit every room and style, from mattresses and beds to rugs, mirrors and suites of furniture. Visit us in store today and see for yourself what Cooney's have to offer, and let us help you make your dream home a reality. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Huge range, great prices.
For an efficient, mild hybrid system that doesn't compromise on the joy of driving, test drive the Mazda CX-30. This compact, stylish SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty. Test drive the 251 Mazda range at McGinley Motors, Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
If you're getting married in 2025, BizPrint can take care of all your printing needs. Not just invitations, but save the date cards, order of service booklets, table plans, and so much more. See what's available at weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint on 9177955.
Get the right tools or equipment to get any job sorted with the great weekend deal at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Hire any tools or equipment on a Friday for 1 day, and they're yours to use until Monday. 3 days hire for the price of one at Watson Hire every weekend. Get the job done and dusted with this great weekend hire deal at Watson Hire Lisnanen in Letterkenny. Call 9167777 or see watsonhire.ie.
iMotors are now carrying the largest range of pre-owned cars in the Northwest.
Don't settle for just any car. Choose the one that suits your style and budget.
Visit imotors.ie to explore our extensive range with 20 plus brands to choose from and find your next car today.
Or call into our showroom in Letterkenny or Malin.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Taoiseach says a fundamental rethink is needed in how Ireland manages its response to bad weather. Around 18,000 homes, farms and businesses remain without power after Storm Éowyn almost 2 weeks ago. The Cabinet is discussing how to improve the energy grid after the government faced criticism for its response to the bad weather. Speaking as he entered the Cabinet meeting this morning, Micheál Martin admitted that Ireland must be better prepared next time.
It's been very distressing for people who are still without power and indeed who had been without water for considerable length of time as well. There's been a significant humanitarian response, but we do need a fundamental rethink in terms of storm resilience, because this was the most severe storm we've experienced in 60 years.
Well, Enterprise Minister Peter Burke says he understands the disruption Storm Éowyn has caused for many businesses across the country. He says his department is closely monitoring the situation and is engaging with the National Emergency Coordination Group and local enterprise offices to assess and address immediate challenges. As we said, approximately 18,000 homes, farms and businesses across the country remain without power this morning. The situation in Donegal has improved significantly. Power Check today shows just 22 customers without power in the county, 10 in Carndonagh with an estimated restoration time of 9 o'clock tonight, and 12 in Ballyshannon with an estimated restoration time of tea time on Friday. The ESB is stressing that technicians from Austria, Finland, France, Britain, Germany and Norway remain on the ground, helping to restore connections in the worst affected areas. Well, there are calls for the failures of government last week to be reviewed. The Vice Chair of North West Democra, Cian McCabe, says the government should have acted much faster.
When this storm was forecast, I think Ireland's government should have put in an emergency response and requested the people to come over from Austria, the UK, Germany, France to help. They are helping, but it's taking a long time. Then people down in West Cavan, if the forest hasn't even been taken off the lines yet, when will they get power back? Because it's not fair.
Foyle MLA Sinead McLaughlin says there are still questions to be answered about the circumstances surrounding the allocation of over £710,000 for sports and PE facilities at Lisneal College on the waterside, including the provision of a new football pitch. Questions have been raised this week about the circumstances under which the decision was made, particularly at a time when a number of schools have serious structural issues which needs to be addressed, but there is no funding available. Education Minister Paul Givan stressed in the Assembly he had no role or involvement in the decision, which was made, he said, by the Education Authority. He suggested that Ms McLaughlin review her focus as an MLA.
What I would do is say to the member who represents the Foyle constituency, if you haven't been, and maybe you have because I don't know, go to Lisneal College. Speak to the principal about his feelings and the school's feelings around the way in which her party and others have responded to this. Try be an MLA for all your constituents in the Foyle, not just one particular section.
Well, responding, Ms McLaughlin said there are a number of issues that need clarification, including whether there had been a full application for the funding and why the department's own website says the upper limit for minor works is £500,000 when, according to the minister, that's been doubled to £1 million. She rejected any suggestion that her concerns are rooted in politics or sectarianism.
I really am hurt and angry that there would be any suggestion that I would have any sectarian modus operandi against any constituent in my in Foyle or anywhere. It is just not in the fibre of my being, and I reject that was made on the floor of this House. Thank you.
The Taoiseach says displacing Palestinian civilians would be in clear contradiction of UN Security Council resolutions. Simon Harris's comments come after Donald Trump claimed he would like to see the US take over Gaza and own it. The US president says he'd like to see the 2 million Palestinians who live there move to areas of Egypt and Jordan so he could transform the area into the Riviera of the Middle East. Well, Taoiseach Simon Harris says international attention should be focused on supporting the people of Gaza.
It's very clear the direction of travel here. We need a two-state solution, and the people of Palestine and the people of Israel both have a right to live in states safely side by side, and that's where the focus has to be. Any idea of displacing the people of Gaza anywhere else would be in clear contradiction with UN Security Council resolutions.
Dry, largely bright and sunny today with light winds. A little cloud will drift in at times during the afternoon. Perhaps the odd shower, but most places will stay dry. Top temperature 7 to 9 degrees Celsius. Cold and clear tonight with light winds. Temperatures falling quickly after sunset with lowest temperatures of 1 to minus 1 degree Celsius. Frost and ice expected. Tomorrow, again dry and largely bright with plenty of sunshine and light winds. Top temperatures on Thursday 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News, back with news headlines again at 11. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 5th of February. The death has taken place of Paddy Gallagher, Station Road, Glenties, reposing at his home in Station Road today from 12 noon until Rosary at 9. Removal tomorrow morning to St Connell's Church, Glenties, for funeral mass at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in Conwall Cemetery, Letterkenny. House private, please, before the funeral tomorrow. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, Letterkenny. The death has taken place of Sean McGrain, 27, Glenevish Hill, Strabane. Remains reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11:25 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Melmount. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Alzheimer's Society, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Dougald McFarlane, the Breakwater, Leharden, Rathmullen, reposing at his late residence tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral service on Friday afternoon at 2 in St Columba's Church, Rathmullen, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The house is strictly private, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Betty Rooney, née Breslin, 32, Close Fodrick, Carndunna, and formerly of Carrow Beg, Lekemi. Betty's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:20 for 11 o'clock funeral mass in St Columba's Church, Ballinacray, Lekemi, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired, to Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Enya Maria Celia McMurrough, Ardsbeg, Gorthahork, aged 13.5 years. Her remains are reposing at the family home, which is strictly private to family only, please. All are welcome to the funeral, which will take place at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in Chockpubble Creasree, Gorthahork. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, funeral director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Francie Kelly, Trusk, Ballabafay. Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill, this morning at 11, with burial afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family time, please, before the funeral. Flowers welcome, donations in lieu if desired, to the Patients' Comfort Fund, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of McGowan's Funeral Home, or any family member. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. And the death has taken place of Robert John Roy Beattie, Lord Donaghmore, Castlefin. Remains reposing at St Patrick's Church, Donaghmore. Funeral service there this afternoon at 2 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family home private, please, at the request of the deceased. Family flowers only, donations in lieu if desired to St Patrick's Church, Donaghmore, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
We'll wait for the bus, the train, or the lights to turn green. We'll wait for the weekend and we'll wait for the rain to stop. But when it comes to pain, nobody wants to wait. That's why Nurofen Rapid Relief liquid capsules start working in just 7 minutes, with a formula that's absorbed faster than standard ibuprofen tablets. Choose Nurofen Rapid Relief liquid capsules and unleash the speed of liquid. Nurofen Rapid Relief maximum strength 400mg liquid capsules contain ibuprofen. For mild to moderate pain, always read the label.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Welcome back. We're into the second hour of Wednesday's 9 till noon show. How you all keeping this morning? I hope you're very well indeed. Good morning, Greg. Trump is simply a megalomaniac and a danger to this planet. In my opinion, the sooner he's gone, the better. Scary times for the whole world. It's interesting, too, he says that because there was some suspicion that Iran had a hand in attempted assassinations of Donald Trump, and he said that he's left orders that if anything happens to him, Iran would be effectively wiped out. Good morning, Greg. When their neighbouring Muslim countries won't take them, what does that tell you about the Gazans? But we'll take them, no problem. Well, what country would just willingly take in 2 million people or 1.5 million people from another country? I mean, can you imagine if you tried to do that here? Yes, of course, we do have an asylum system, as Jordan and Egypt does as well. But Donald Trump is talking about moving an entire population from their land into settlements in other countries. Why would any country not resist that to some extent, at least until they get a better deal or something? But anyway, this caller says that we have no problem bringing them in. Remind me and your listeners what age they marry off little girls in Gaza. These people are sick and it's happening and it's allowed to happen in this country. Our laws mean nothing to these people. They do as they please, says that listener. On the ESB thing, if there is one major issue with the EU, it would be the state aid rules. We never should have privatised our key public industries like electricity, says a listener. The fact that a third of our power is green, but we pay more than most of the world for our power, just proves that privatisation has absolutely shafted the public. Will electricity suppliers refund us for all the time we have no power? No, because that's an act of God and they're protected by that. It's not their problem. So of course they won't. Jeez. As if. But will they charge you to fix the problem? Yes, of course they will. Hi, Greg. I read in the newspaper that Ireland will be introducing autism-friendly parking spaces to support individuals with hidden disabilities such as autism. I would like to know about Donegal County Council's plans for implementing these spaces. We've received a sticker to display on our car windshields, but are unclear on when the initiative will be rolled out. Could you please check if we can get more details on the timeline and locations of these parking spaces? Yes, we will check into that. Leave that with us. Hi, Greg. I heard talk on Highland Radio yesterday about breast cancer care. I had a referral from my doctor on the 31st of December to the breast clinic in Letterkenny. I've been told there's a 5-month waiting list for normal referrals. Surely this is not good enough. If there is anything ominous, then surely this waiting time will affect the outcome, not to mention the mental torture, wondering if I'm okay. I'm sorry with what you're going through, because that's like a 5-month purgatory potentially. I presume the doctor was listening to a concern you had or noticed some change in your body, and is that why you would be referred to the breast clinic in Letterkenny? A 5-month waiting list, is that normal? I'm going to throw that out to people out there who understand this more than I. Obviously, we can't reassure someone because they wouldn't be referred if something didn't need to be checked, and that would be that perhaps wouldn't be helpful. I don't know the answer to that, but 5 months for a regular referral does seem an awful long time. I think if the GP noticed something on me that could be potentially cancer related and referred me, and I was told you have to wait 5 months, that would be 25 written off for me, to be completely honest with you. It's just my nature. Greg, I was shocked to hear ESB, the National Electricity Supply Board in Ireland, says people will pay for line repairs, not the company. Even though the ESB made €400 million in profit for the first 6 months of last year and its executives were given huge bonuses, this country never fails to shock me. That's going to become a political hot potato, by the way. Make no doubt about that. I wanted to raise a question about home internet. Ours has been out since Storm Éowyn, 11 days now. Vodafone is our broadband provider, but they're impossible to get information from. Now status updates only. The odd text to say they're working on it. I believe there are a number of people without it. I'm aware power had to be restored to families as a priority, but not sure what the holdup is with the internet. I can't work from home, and the TV's out as well. This is affecting Cornwall, Letterkenny, Tullygay, all out. They're two separate issues, really. I mean, the ESB crews are working on ESB-related matters. Perhaps your internet is affected by the ESB being out, but at this point, it sounds to me like Vodafone need to get out and fix the issues themselves. I don't know. I wish I could offer some comfort or information that's of use there. Unfortunately, I can't. But we'll keep an eye on it and see what we can find out. In relation to speed limits, another money-making racket, more speed vans, more fines. It'll make no difference to road safety. Fix hospital waiting times and sort the trolley culture. This would save many more lives, believes the listener. 50, 60, 80 kilometre signs to slow down isn't the problem. It's using devices whilst driving, says the listener. The Lifford to Ballabafay Road will the speed stay at 100 kilometres per hour. Will Castlefin to Castlederg stay 80? It all depends on the type of road, and that hasn't even really gone to consultation yet. If it's the national route, i.e. an N on the sign, it's staying as is. If it's an R, it affects effectively just the N56. So that's pretty clear, isn't it? If it's your main local roads, they're probably going to stay as they are. The type of roads between towns and villages and more rural areas. If you go off those roads onto the L's, that's where you're going to see the speed limits being reduced. So the actual impact on getting from A to B, I think, is going to be relatively minimal in this county. A caller, though, believes speed limits are not the problem, it's driver behaviour, and many people would agree. Hi, Greg. Is this national, the speed limit? Thanks, Greg. Tony in Carrigart. They're changing right across the country. Tony in Carrigart, most of your speed limits won't change unless you sort of head up towards Loch Salt or off the beaten path, so to speak. When are we going to reduce the speed limit? The cars can go up to 200 kilometres an hour. Like, give a person with diabetes sweets. It can cause serious damage. I'm sure there are ways to limit car speeds. There are. Of course there are. Hi, Greg. What about the speed for tractors? Are they speeding up? I don't know. A few more on this before we take the breaks. I know some of you keen to play the bingo numbers. In relation to the Milford Kilmacrennan Road, by the way, that road traffic collision, it was a single vehicle collision. The road is open and no injuries reported, which is good news, isn't it? I do worry when we get handed sheets of paper. You just don't know what the outcome is going to be. But I'm told it was a single vehicle collision and that the road is open and there are no reported injuries. Let me just read that in its entirety to make sure. Yep, Gardaí received a report of a single vehicle road traffic collision on the Kilmacrennan Road, Milford. It was around 9 a.m. this morning. No injuries reported and the road remains open. So that's positive, isn't it? Now, I'm sure the person involved, there's a bit of shock there, but you know what I mean. I don't care what the speed limit is as long as it's clearly marked, says a listener. Drivers will have more time to text, believes another. Hi there, is a really dangerous junction in Kilmacrennan. Big lorries, etc. are not heeding the present speed limit. What can be done before it's too late? The issue needs addressing. Give us a little bit more information there. The way to stop people breaking the current speed limit is to reduce the speed limit. Can't honestly see that working, though. It'll raise more money in fines. It's a cultural change. You know, you can ban drugs, right? People still take drugs, but if it's illegal, right, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people will choose not to because they don't want to break the law. They don't have to get caught with drugs up their nose. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll spend that much time looking at signs that we could cross the ditch. All right, come on. I'm sure you can glance at a sign and keep driving at the same time. How are they going to monitor speeding on rural roads when there's no room for two vehicles to meet? Never mind parking a speed van. Again, it's to sort of change attitudes. I live in Bonagee and people fly on the roads morning, noon and night. I know a quad who flies up and down the road. We can't even walk on the road anymore. It's a disgrace, they say. A quick birthday request now for my cousin, Gemma Harkin. Hi, Gemma. You're in Cherna League in Carndonagh and celebrating your 80th birthday today. Gemma used to drive the Swilly bus from Carn to Derry as well as the school bus for years, so he's well known in Carn. We send him love and best wishes from his family in Carn, London and Glasgow, and that comes in from Charles Coyle, Father Charles Coyle, in fact. So a very big happy birthday to you, Gemma, in Gemma Harkin, Turner League in Carndonagh. 80 today. I hope you are spoiled rotten for all that you've given to other people in the past. You deserve it. Right, back after these.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 5th of February. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S8. It's game number 6. The numbers are 26, 64, 33, 34, 82, 55, 57, 74, 58, and finally 72. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
PDO thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 32575.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas, Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
Is your little man making his first Holy Communion this year? Visit McElhinney's in Ballybuffet for all you need to complete his outfit. From suits for boys of all ages to the perfect accessories. Get your child ready for every occasion, big and small. Shop online or visit us in-store to find the perfect fit for your kids with McElhinney's.
Now, you're welcome back to the programme. We welcome onto it now Councillor Jack Murray. It's funny how some sort of stories align and there becomes a theme. And we're talking about roads and speed and people saying there's a lack of enforcement. And then when they do try and enforce it, people aren't happy either. Jack, this is in relation to a speed van quite literally, in Buncrana.
Yeah, and look, I'd front load my comments first of all by saying speed vans are a crucial part of road safety, and they can save lives when they're deployed correctly at dangerous roads and where speeding is a problem. But in Buncrana yesterday and the day before, we've the bizarre situation where a speed van has been parked for a number of hours in between two speed ramps on a road which is extremely busy at school drop-offs, and people just can't understand why there, when there's so much more roads with greater speed, greater danger, accidents on a more frequent occurrence. Why is this not being utilised at those locations rather than slap bang in the middle of an urban street? It's taken up 2 car parking spaces in front of a number of local cafes, newsagents, health shop there, Vodafone, and local businesses have been quite irate, for want of a better word, about this. But it's so bizarre that I can't understand the logic behind the decision to deploy it at this location. As I say, it's only a number of feet from a wide pedestrian crossing speed ramp. So if you did manage to build up speed at that particular location, you would destroy the suspension in your car because you're about to hit a speed ramp. So I just don't understand the logic of it. It's definitely clocking speed. Well, that's what it appears to be. I don't think these speed vans are collecting or checking tax. I don't think that's their role. It's just that in terms of the vision lines coming out of the vehicle, if a van parks behind it or a car parks behind it, I don't know precisely how they work, but has someone seen him actually out or her actually out, sort of, the way they go out a certain distance and they set up their equipment to make sure the camera is working and all that kind of stuff. Like, they're definitely clocking speed. Well, myself and Paddy McLaughlin have written to the Transport Authority asking for an explanation from this. And look, I'm open to be convinced that this has merit, but it's causing quite a concern to a number of people in the town who feel that this is here to raise revenue. And regardless of the reason that it's been there. You've made the argument that it would almost be impossible to break the speed limit in that area. Yeah. So it can't be about revenue making, because your own words suggest that it'd be almost impossible to break the speed limit there. Yeah, and if it was there for any other reason, or if it's there not being used at all, that raises further questions. Like, I know at that time in the morning, and I'm sure parents would have been on your show talking about Niamh Mhura, the school in Tubin, where speed is a serious problem in the mornings. There was a time when the bus couldn't even cross the road and was dropping people on the other side of the road, children, at that time, because they were so concerned about speed. Yet there's a speed van sitting on Buncrana Main Street during school drop-off at that time. So again, if it's there doing nothing, or if it's spare, that raises further concerns that why is it not being used to make our roads safe, particularly when there's such widespread concern at other locations. Unfortunately, though, we do see serious and fatal road traffic collisions in built-up areas. Very sadly, recently we saw instances of pedestrians losing their life in built-up areas. Is there not an argument that maybe this is a reminder for people to be aware, for people to be alert, to ensure their speed is appropriate, to ensure their car is taxed and roadworthy, and to try and influence the attitudes of drivers in built-up areas as well? Yeah, and look, that's a good point as well. But again, it can be located and create the same awareness at roads that see the same with the traffic, but fast-moving traffic further out from the main street. And it's caused serious concern among businesses as locations are taking up parking spaces. People are deterred maybe from driving up the main street. They think they're going to get hit for arbitrary speed and fines that they don't deserve. So this is recently 2 days, but it has been a regular balance between. And I have to play devil's advocate here. I don't want Buncrana businesses to be having a go at me. It's not my motivation, but no one wants
if people are avoiding the main street because they don't want to be done for speeding, well, they're speeding, and then the van is serving its purpose.
Well, I don't think they're speeding. They might be worried that there could be some reason, or they might accidentally go over a very low speed limit. Like, speeding on Buncrana Main Street is not an issue of concern for the local businesses. It is an issue of concern outside local schools at that time, and on more dangerous, fast-moving traffic.
I could pick a million places it could be where people would love to see it there, just to alter driving behaviour at peak times. I get that point 100%. I'm just trying to tease out with you maybe the logic of having it there. Someone wonders, maybe they're in Pizza Max for lunch, but you're of the view that they're maybe actually working.
Yeah, well, they've been there from about 6:30 in the morning until the afternoon time, so they're there for a considerable amount of time, and then it moves on. Now, but look, I've said myself and Paddy McLaughlin have asked the questions. They may come back with a logical explanation, but at a time, and it always is a concern, road safety and fatalities on our roads, I just feel that when we have something that is important and is crucial in creating road safety or reducing speed, it could be so much better utilised.
No, I get you. And there's a lot of pushback too on there's a speed van that sits outside the chapel in Donegal town. It's slightly different because there is can be a speeding issue there in a sweeping corner. This seems to make much less sense, but we will await news to see what's the point or purpose of it. Stay with me though, because I just want to raise another issue while I have you, and that is concerns over the future of the births, deaths and marriages office in Buncrana. It's kind of office that you only know it's there when you need it, but over time, everyone's going to need it for one reason or another. It's going. Is that what we're being told?
Yeah, unfortunately, this was raised with me a number of weeks ago. The lady that works there is reaching retirement now, and given the government's embargo within the health system, that there would be no replacement. So I had written to the HSE, Paddy McLaughlin, written to the Minister for Health, and we both got a response yesterday evening that confirmed that the births, deaths and marriages in Buncrana is closing from the 20th of March, and I just think it's a really, really retrograde step.
And did that office service the whole of Inishowen?
It did, yeah. It's the only office in Inishowen. The response we got, I almost try to put a positive spin that people can avail of the service in Letterkenny, Donegal Town and Sligo and Stranorder. That is no good to anybody in Mallinhead, Boville, Carndonagh, Buncrana. That's a significant distance. Yeah. And look, I'm sure you're probably fed up hearing it, but Inishowen's bigger than County Louth. It's a very significant, widespread area. So we do need this service. And this is just another knock-on effect of the blunt instrument of the recruitment embargo within the health services.
It's a toughie because, if someone needs to sort of acquire death certs, and you have to do that quite quickly to sort stuff out. To be faced then from, instead of going, which is a trek in itself, let's use Malin for an example, to Buncrana, but then to have to go to Letterkenny and go into what's going to be an extremely busy office now, you'd imagine. And then you talk about parking and all the other sides of things. People will feel it's just another service being stripped from Inishowen.
Absolutely, and look, I'm being openly pro-Gael when it comes on behalf of Inishowen, but I'm sure for the staff in Letterkenny too, that they now have to take on an area with over 40,000 people in it, and that's going to severely increase their workload as well, create further delays in the Letterkenny office. So I'm sure in Letterkenny they would rather that the Buncrana office was open and servicing the people of Inishowen as well. And look, you use deaths particularly as an example. Like, obviously it affects the elderly people more than others. So there could be elderly people, their partners, or who have lost a partner, now having to travel the whole way from Mallinhead to Letterkenny.
Additional complication they don't need. Did the letter you received, which I haven't had sight of, did it reference the recruitment embargo, or is that a conclusion that you've come to?
The conclusion I've come to, that doesn't reference that. It just says yes, we're closing. But I am aware that there's a retirement there. I am aware.
But I mean, it's possible they could redeploy staff. You know what I mean? That if they were interested in retaining it, I'm sure until such time as maybe the embargo elapses, that they could redeploy a member of staff. I wonder, was that something they?
Well, they haven't. It was a very straight to the point response that I got, just saying simply that it is being closed from the 20th of March and people can go elsewhere. So look, we'll be putting the argument to them. We don't want to take this one lying down, and we'll be putting as much pressure as we can in every avenue possible until the 20th of March to retain what is a crucial crucial service within Buncrana and for the entire Inishowen Peninsula as a whole.
Yeah, we'll have to trace that one up. As I say, it's people will feel it's like death by 1,000 cuts. It's as I said right at the beginning, it's one of those offices that you don't necessarily know it's there until it's your time to go to it, and many people do. All right, Councillor Murray, thank you for your time. Caller says, I didn't know actually that there was a speed van set up in Glenties town on a regular basis, so it's not just Buncrana. And they also referenced the one I did, Donegal town across from the chapel. There have been collisions there. It can be a bit of a dodgy sweeping corner in Donegal town. Maybe a slightly stronger argument for that one than there might be for the one in Buncrana. For any of you watching on the stream, it looks like the van stopped for an ice cream. There's a big ice cream there as well. It doesn't look like it's set up well to track people speeding, because I'm not sure of the distance that those vans clock people at, but it doesn't look like it could do it effectively. I don't understand. It's all done on, I would imagine, and I could be very wrong, but I'd imagine you have to be covered over two distances for it to calculate your speed or your speed for a certain amount of time. And it just doesn't look like that could, maybe they've got short throw lasers, I haven't a clue, but it doesn't look like it could effectively track people's speed there. But again, someone out there knows more than me. Maybe you used to work in a speed van. I know there used to be someone who was quite involved in that industry, used to text us in now and again. Maybe they can give us a bit of information, let me know. When has a speed van saved lives? Just one example. It's trying to prove a negative there. It's one of those arguments that it's a good question, but you're asking me to prove a negative, and that's borderline impossible. Speed van set up in Glenties. I mentioned that one, didn't I? I also mentioned that maybe they're even having a pizza. I thought the speed cameras were only deployed in areas where there'd been serious road collisions. To the best of my knowledge, there have been no serious road collisions on the main street in Buncrana. And a caller says it's a collision waiting to happen in Kilmacrennan. Why has there not been a speed van checking the speed? You want to shoot fish in a barrel and save lives, put it in Kilmacrennan. You'll make a fortune, but you might actually save lives in collisions there. I'll add to that.
Changing a name also changes the game. The iconic Audi A4 is now known as the Audi A5. More than simply a number change, it also raises the game in sophistication, sportiness, power, and innovation. Test drive the new Audi A5, part of the 251 Audi range. This is the expression of evolution. This is Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik.
Planning the perfect Valentine's date night? Let your local Maple store make it extra special. From fresh, locally grown ingredients for a romantic homemade meal to chocolates and wine, at Maple we've got everything you need to set the mood. Plus, don't miss your chance to win a beautiful Valentine's hamper full of treats. Simply spend €10 or more in store by February 12th to enter. And remember, throughout February, spend €10 in any Maple store and enjoy a free regular tea or coffee. Maple Stores. Fresh, convenient, local.
Celebrating 50 years, McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles in Buncrana continues to be Donegal's go-to destination for stunning bathroom makeovers. With a vast selection of premium tiles and bathroom products, our showroom is your ultimate one-stop shop for crafting the perfect space. We've earned our reputation through expert advice, unbeatable prices and a dedication to customer satisfaction. Visit our showroom in Cockhill and Buncrana and see why we've been Donegal's top choice for 50 years and counting. Call us at 07493 63050.
It's colourless, it's odorless, it's hard to detect. So carbon monoxide deserves your respect. It can kill you stone dead in just 3 minutes flat. And if you don't believe me, ask me dear Uncle Pat. Tagging you. Coal, turf, oil, gas, even wood, any fuel can harm. So get yourself a carbon monoxide alarm, or you might just wake up dead.
Nutrius XL Yo with Lamb and Nutrius Yo with Lamb Crunch are both formulated to ensure a vigorous lamb and excellent milk yield. Avail of our lambing season offer. 25 kg bags, buy 10, get 1 free. And €15 off per tonne in bulk. Available at your local Homeland store. Or contact your farm commercial specialist. Visit nutrius.ie for full nutritional information.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. We have in studio now a familiar voice to many of you, of course, Keith Fletcher. Good morning. Oh, how the hell are you, Keith?
How the hell are you?
Good to have you in. Right, Keith, of course, with you every Saturday evening, but he's a busy man because he's a worker as well and chair of the Letterkenny Triathlon. Letterkenny Triathlon, talk to me about this.
Right, so we're having an open night next Wednesday night, the 12th of February. So it'll be down in the Aura. You know, if people want to, sometimes people come along, you know, how do I find out about triathlon?
Yep.
How do I join? What's involved? So we're having an open night next Wednesday night.
I suppose because everyone
Colin.
you meet, if they're interested in this, do triathlons, right? So how do you come from, well, I wouldn't mind, to becoming one of these guys? And
Yeah.
I use that across both genders, of course.
Right, because I was chatting to a swim coach the last day, and she was saying, you know, you have people who have learned to swim who didn't swim before. You have people maybe that have done the Couch to 5K with Chris, and then, you know, they think, right, so what's next? You know, what do I do next? And I'm saying, well, one of the options is, sure, come and join the triathlon club, you know.
And you have done triathlons, of course.
I started in 2014.
So you were relatively, it's 2025, still relatively late adapter.
I was 50.
Yeah.
You know, so, but in that, and like that.
Are you pushing 60?
62 now in August.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, everyone, get onto
So,
triathlons.
there you go. There's the benefit of doing triathlons.
Wow, okay. I don't really consider people's age, but when you talked about
they-
50 in 2014, I couldn't help doing the maths. Wow, brilliant stuff, Keith. You look
So,
fantastic.
Thanks. But at that stage, you know, if I had a swam one length of the pool,
Yeah.
I would have thought it was great. I would have been knackered. I would have been puffed.
But you were running then, though?
No, but before I had always done different sports.
Yeah.
That, but I sort of, I had done a charity adventure race in the year before that, and then met my friend Paddy. I clearly remember this. Met my friend Paddy. What he had, Paddy? Oh, I've joined the triathlon club. And what does that involve? Oh, swimming and running and cycling. And, you know, and my first thought, to be honest, was, are you off your head? You know, and he was, sure, come down and try it. And so I went down and tried it, and I discovered then that I liked it, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked about the swimming is it's coached sessions.
Yes.
So you're not just throwing and splashing down the pool. So you're taught how to swim properly.
Yeah, and use your energy efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
And you would have been fit, but you're using a whole different range of muscle groups, which was why I was at. Because it's funny, you can see, like footballers, you can run around a pitch for 90 minutes, right, or 70 minutes of his GEA, but you put them into a boxing ring and they try white-collar boxing and they're gassed in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
It's different sort of... it's different skills.
Oh,
and
definitely.
different muscle groups
different skills.
and
Yeah.
what have you, right?
Well, that's
Okay.
what we said. That wee leaflet I gave you, it's, as I was saying, you know, it's a person who doesn't think
Oh, I
that,
see you're 62 now. Over the glasses.
That one's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and you did this together yourselves, actually, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Peter, one of the guys, put that together.
So what is a triathlon? And then we'll build back up to
Right,
where
triathlon. So tri is so
Three.
Normally it starts off with a swim,
Mhm.
and then you've got the cycle, and then you've got the run at the end. So, and within that, then you've got different lengths. So if you see in the wee leaflet, has to read this for you. Shut up. So your basics are, you have the sprint triathlon, which is a 750 metre swim, a 20k bike, and a 5k run. That's sort of your basic.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have the Olympic, which is double the numbers, right? 1500 metre swim, 40k bike ride, and a 10k run. And then you go up into the bigger stuff. You have the Ironman 70.3, which is known as a half Ironman, which we do in Downings every year. You
Right.
probably see them down there.
Yeah.
Which is the is it 1900 swim, 90k bike, and a half marathon.
21.1k run. And you do the 70.3, do you?
I did the 140.
Wow. Okay. But you build up to that.
Oh, you build up to
And
it,
I
yeah.
presume not everyone who gets involved in it will always necessarily progress to the Ironman 140.
No,
it's
see,
like
there's-
leagues, isn't it? You can say, right, I'm going to focus on and be my best as a sprint triathlon.
There are loads of events on every year. Like you have loads. You have ones in Downings, in Derry, in Ballyshannon, in Strabane, in Omagh, in Sligo, in Roscommon, and they're the near hand ones.
Yeah.
So there are people in the club that just go and do the sprint ones every year. You know, and that's great, and they enjoy that, and they get fulfillment out of that, you know, and you have the camaraderie, because if you go to a race, you're going to have other people in the club that are there, and you're going, yeah, what's, you know, or you could travel together to the race.
Yeah.
You know.
And listen, inevitably we're going to have to mention, firstly, it's a great way to meet people, but also, two, we know the benefits on one's mental health, for an example, in getting out there and getting into the fresh air. So how is it a competition then? So say, for instance, you enter, we'll focus on the sprint triathlon.
Yeah.
Is there different age categories, or are you trying to beat your own personal best, or maybe people don't treat it as terribly competitive, which I don't believe to be the case. But
all of the above.
Yeah.
The problem with doing, if you do a sprint triathlon, say you did a sprint triathlon, the problem, for want of a better word, you have the next time is now you have a time to beat.
Yes, of course.
You know, and that's your personal one. The other one is there are age categories. You know, you have the open one, which is for everybody. Then you'd have the over 40s, the over 50s, the over 60s. So you do have age categories but
also within that, I mean, you could just be an amazing swimmer and maybe not a little bit weaker runner. But
you definitely have that.
You'll have people that one of the tries, effectively the triathlon, they're stronger in than others. Yeah. You took to swimming a little bit later on. What would be your best discipline? Running, swimming, cycling?
I like running.
Yeah, that's your thing. So when we talk about inviting people to get involved in this, you know, like if we're talking about a couch to 5K, maybe someone who's got very limited sort of experience with exercise, and they build up to that, and God knows where they can go on to from now. Who are we talking to today, do you think, that would be suitable for getting an interest and involvement in triathlons?
Anybody and everybody. You know, there are people that have done other sports for years that think, oh, what, you know, could I do something different? Could I try something different? And as I said, you've got the people who have done the couch to 5K, or the people who have done the swimming lessons. You know, I actually got, if you don't mind, I got a text. I got a text this morning from a fellow who joined in 2017. And about £100 I won't find the bloody text. Oh, here it is, right. I joined in 2017, never swam in open water, right? Started swimming, started the Wednesday evening, progressed and completed the sprint in 2018, did his first half Ironman, and then did Sheephaven. And in 2024, which is 7 years later, he did a full Ironman in Copenhagen.
But he did the sprint a year later.
Yeah,
in 2018, that's amazing. Okay,
you know,
now there's a whole structure to this too. In the leaflet we have, in front of you, the training gear, the stuff that you would need, right? Common sense, right? But also the schedule then, because you're not sort of thrown into it by yourself. You talked about coach swimming and what have you, but there's a structure to this.
Oh, yes, it's just not willy-nilly and you turn up on a race day. You know, you'll see there. Well, Monday is you do strength and conditioning in the house yourself. Tuesday, we'll allow you a rest that day.
All right, not so bad.
Wednesday is the coached swimming session, which is very good because swimming is, I've discovered, is actually quite technical. You know, because of the breathing. Some people breathe to one side, some people breathe to both sides. It's very important that you do breathe. Hands going under the water. You know, fingers, wrist, elbow.
There's a technique there.
It's very, you know, and that's where the coaching comes in. And we have some great coaches in the club, you know. And when we take over the pool on a Wednesday night, and you've got like from a beginner's lane up to the advanced lane, so you're not thrown in with really, really good swimmers at the start.
Yeah. Which could be discouraging for some.
Yeah, which could be discouraging. You know,
and then you can see where you can get to too as well. So it's
exactly.
So on Thursday, then a group run session.
Thursday's the group run. And that run is done at a pace, what they call conversational pace.
Got you.
So, you know, nobody's out there running away and leaving you, and you know, and that's good, you know. And again, that builds up over the summer, and as evenings get brighter. Friday you can have a swim or a rest day, and then Saturday is the cycle day. So we leave the Aura at 9 a.m. and depending on your ability, or depending on, you know, some might do a 20k cycle, some might do a 40k cycle. As I call them, the bigger boys, they could be away for 3 hours. You know, but everybody leaves together.
And then on Sunday, the long run from 9 a.m. Now, for those looking to get into this, you know, there potentially is quite a bit of front loading in it. Say, for instance, I'm thinking, you know, a bike.
Go back to the gear.
The gear, exactly. Sorry, wetsuits and stuff like that there. Like, when you're inviting people to get involved here, you want them involved in all three disciplines, do you?
Yes.
So you're joining a Letterkenny Triathlon Club with a view to improving your running, your swimming, and your cycling. So there is a level of commitment here, which is important, I think.
Definitely.
I think you sometimes need to put a bit of skin in the game to stick it out too.
Yeah. You know, and the other thing is, you know, you don't need to be spending a pile of money. You know, as I said, I did the Ironman in 2018. My bike cost me €600.
Yeah.
You know, you could spend $6,000. You could spend 10 grand on a bike.
Yeah.
You know, but that was fine for me. You know, you don't need. You can buy a wetsuit for €240. You can buy a wetsuit for €2,000.
Depends how cold you want to be. But also, too, I think, you know, people want the best of stuff. It's also what you can, the best you can get out of something as well. Stay there. Mary, how are you?
Good morning, Greg.
Now, you are, firstly, I think you want to congratulate Keith. He's the new chair of Letterkenny Triathlon.
Absolutely. Wish him the very best of luck.
Right, what's your triathlon experience, Mary?
Well, I wouldn't be one of the more senior ones. I would be maybe the mother of the club, maybe so.
Right.
Joined late in life, I suppose, to triathlon. I have 3 tries done, I think. Quite a few duathlons. Last year I did the Mullockmore triathlon, the shorter version. I did a aquathon in Oma last year, so I've quite a lot done. Quite a lot.
And you would have had a running background, but swimming was a new enough discipline for you.
It was a new enough discipline, and as Keith was saying, quite technical. That just getting the stroke right. I haven't got it right as yet, but I'll get there.
And what was it like going from sort of pool swimming to open water swimming? Because they're different, obviously. I mean, just in terms of
very different. Yeah. I suppose my husband does a lot of open water swimming, and he had been saying to me for quite a long time, "Oh, you should do this. It's brilliant," and all the rest. Truth be known, I had a wetsuit in the shed for a full year before I put it on.
Right.
But anyway, what's the triathlon club? As I said to your other lady on the phone, go to Garden. You have the kayak support. You feel very, very safe. As Keith said earlier on, everybody's at their own pace. There's always somebody near you or beside you, and the kayaker is there if you need help or if you need assistance, which makes it very, very safe and very comfortable.
And Mary, obviously, I'm told that when you get into this kind of stuff, it can become quite addictive. But what drives you on? Is it the participation? Is it your own personal best? Do you have a frenemy that you're always trying to get one over on? What kind of what motivates you?
Well, I suppose I'm the least competitive person you could imagine.
Okay.
But it's the friendship, it's the camaraderie, it's just the inclusion for someone of my age. I'll actually be 68 this year. Okay. So for my age, it's brilliant that I can get on there with somebody at 7. I meet somebody at the foyer, 17, 18, have a chat with them. It's just the inclusion. I think that I really, really like and enjoy, and the support. And as Keith said earlier on, the swim coaches are excellent. The running is brilliant on a Thursday night. Now, the rest of the week, I probably would do my own thing. I would go for a run with a group of friends on a Saturday morning rather than the bike, and then I would go to spinning classes or something like that. So, no, it's actually, I suppose, in fairness, I'm thankful that I'm able to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, with the range of muscles and the bone movements and the cold water, and you're ticking so many boxes of stuff we should be doing to stay as active and healthy for as long as we possibly can. I mean, you're only 68, but I mean, you're doing everything you can to ensure you can do this for God knows how long yet, Mary.
Yeah, please God, yeah.
All right, when's your next event?
Oh, ask Keith, he'll tell you.
When's Mary's next event, Keith?
There's a duathlon in Buncrana on the 16th of March. So
16th of March, that'll get you set for
no pressure,
Mary.
No pressure, Keith.
No pressure.
All right, lovely to chat to you, Mary. Keep going. Thanks very much indeed. And there's nothing typical in this day and age, but I think, speaking to Mary, and for many people learning maybe that you're 62, Keith, as well, we can put our own barriers. This comes up time and time again. I can't do that, or blah. You know what I mean? But why not? I mean, you know.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, and just thinking of me, like with young Mark McGinley, who got the Sports Star Award for triathlon, and he's whatever 19 or 20, and we have everybody and everybody in between that as well, so it's totally inclusive.
Fully inclusive, okay. And really what we're talking about is maybe sparking an interest in you. I think what's really good about this interview, from my perspective, is that it's so open, because often people have an interest, Keith, and they say, well, how do I get involved in that? Is it a closed shop? You know what I mean? Well, this is about saying, no, actually, we want more of you to come along.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. Even last October, there was a lady came into the swimming on a Wednesday night. So and she came in inquiring.
Yeah.
What was happening, because she comes from Glenties every Wednesday night. Her kids were at gymnastics, and she had something, something to do for the hour, for the hour and a half. So I'm reeling her in.
No problem. So the open night is Wednesday week, yeah?
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday,
from 6 o'clock.
Yeah, they're holding an open night for anyone interested in doing a triathlon. They'll be in the front hall of the Aura Leisure Centre in Letterkenny as you go in the door. It runs from 6 to 7 p.m. As you can hear from Keith, it's incredibly inclusive and welcoming. And as I say, maybe people have an interest in this but didn't know where to start. Well, you've given them the place to start.
Yes.
It's next Wednesday at the Aura.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Anything you want to add, Keith?
So I'll be there, and there'll be other committee members there, and now obviously when you join, you have to sign up with Triathlon Ireland, because that's for, in the world we live in today, that's for insurance purposes, Of course, yeah. So you join up with Triathlon Ireland, and then you tick the 24/7 club. And we start from there, and we build. As I said, you don't have to buy a bike at 10 grand. You can buy a bike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I would say people within the scene upgrade.
Yeah, you start like that.
But also then that means maybe there can be a secondary market and all that.
And with safety to be,
use your cycle to work scheme.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Why not?
You can. And like that, when we go out cycling on Saturday morning, we advise our members to wear a high-vis jacket, to have a white light in the front, to have a red light in the back, because it is a shared area on the roads, so we try and make it as easy as possible for the car drivers not to see us.
Okay. Hi, Greg. Congratulations to Keith from all at Donegal Community Games.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
Okay. Keith Fletcher, thanks very much indeed. Chair of the Letterkenny Triathlon. Obviously a relatively recent appointment, is it?
Yes.
Okay, well done to you. So if you weren't busy enough, just take something else on.
Why not?
Really what this all leads to is next Wednesday between 6 and 7 p.m, Wednesday the 12th of February. It's an open night for anyone interested in doing a triathlon. You've heard from Keith there, and you heard from Mary. That's the type of friendly people of all different ages and backgrounds, from younger to older and everything in between. It's very inclusive, it's very open, and it's at the front hall of the Aura Leisure Centre in Letterkenny. Don't be shy, head along next Wednesday between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Keith, thanks so very much for coming in and seeing us.
Thanks, Greg.
Chat soon.
Want to work with the very best? Then make the all-new Nissan Interstar your next recruit. It's first impressions that count, and the Nissan Interstar doesn't disappoint. With a brand new eye-catching grille and jaw-dropping design. And with a stronger-than-ever payload, it has the power to match your ambition. Available now in electric and diesel versions. Let the world know you mean business with the all-new Nissan Interstar. Contact your local dealer or visit nissan.ie. Nissan. Defy ordinary.
Are you watching the rugby? Says Mr. Brennan. I am, says I. Come here to me. What do you think of the other team's bread? Like what, says he? French baguettes. Can't fit them in the toaster. No use. All right, says I. What about focaccia? You can't use that kind of language on the radio. Sure, none of it beats Brennan's family pan anyway. To put it in rugby terms, it's the only one that's worth a try. Brennan's. Today's bread today.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'll be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'll be them. 07491 43942.
For all your pharmacy needs, visit the new Brennan's Pharmacy in Letterkenny, now open at the Fort Retail Park right across from the new Dunn Stores and Costa Coffee. With 600 free parking spaces in a convenient location, we're ready to help with all types of prescriptions, medicines, pharmacist advice, vaccinations, plus an extensive range of skincare, vitamins, gifts and much more. Can't make it in? We offer local home delivery within 10 kilometres of Letterkenny, perfect when getting into town is tough. So for all your pharmacy and prescription needs, trusted advice and friendly service, come to the new Brennan's Pharmacy Letterkenny. Call us at 074 970 8060. We're here for you.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our new season special occasion wear range is here. Visit us to explore our extensive dress collection in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Thanks again to Keith for calling in. They seem like a really great bunch, so if you have any interest at all in that, please get along next Wednesday at the Aura between 6 and 7 p.m. The weather, a dry, largely bright and sunny day today with light winds. A little cloud will drift in at times during the afternoon with perhaps the odd shower, but most places will stay dry. Temperatures of 7 to 9 degrees. Thanks so much for all of the messages coming in. It keeps us, keeps us on top of stuff. We really do appreciate it. Greg, isn't everything an act of God from the minute you rise till you go to bed? So how are they getting away with saying it's an act of God? I mean, that's an insurance term. I know what you were saying, but it's kind of like an insurance term. You can break the speed limit in Buncrana Main Street. Speed van is there to make money, not to save lives. Sounds critical, but the truth, speed vans have never saved lives. All about revenue, believes the listener. All right, we ran on a little bit with Keith, so I do have to take the quick break now just before the 11 o'clock news.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out shaneconleycars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Enjoy real savings this week at Super Value. Selected fresh Irish large pack meats like whole chicken 1.9 kilo, €5 each. Selected fruit and veg such as mild onion 3-piece, 79 cent each. Scan your card or app and get Pamper Selected range 3 for €30. And Fairy, Personal and Bold Selected ranges 2 for €16. Make real savings every week at Super Value.
Shop Homeland's February mega deals now at your local Homeland or online at homeland.ie. Save 10% of Snickers workwear. Darwin Wood Effect Shed now €299, save €200. JFC 250 litre tipping wheelbarrow now €339, save €40. All this and more until the 23rd of February only. Visit homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available. Bridgend Bureau de Change is now open at Rafferty Circle K Bridgend for all your euro, sterling and dollars. Contact Bridgend Bureau de Change at Rafferty Circle K Bridgend. Planning a wedding or caravan fees to pay? Call into Rafferty Circle K Bridgend for all your currency needs. Bridgend Bureau de Change, the #1 Bureau de Change in County Donegal. Authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Making the move away from diesel? Don't get confused. Get excited at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Experience the power of choice. From our unrivaled hybrid range with no plugging in, to plug-in hybrids and the fully electric BZ4X, we have the right car for you. With incredible offers, including power-up boosters of up to €2,500, make the move at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okie doke, it's 11 o'clock on the button, and with the news headlines, we welcome back into studio Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach says a fundamental rethink is needed in how Ireland manages its response to bad weather. Around 18,000 homes, farms and businesses remain without power after Storm Éowyn almost 2 weeks ago. The Cabinet is discussing how to improve the energy grid after the government faced criticism for its response to the bad weather. Mr Martin admitted admitted that Ireland needs to be better prepared next time. Well, Enterprise Minister Peter Burke says he understands the disruption Storm Éowyn has caused for many businesses across the country. He says his department is closely monitoring the situation and engaging with the National Emergency Coordination Group and local enterprise offices to assess and address immediate challenges. The bulk of the ESB outages are now concentrated in the area around Connacht. The situation in Donegal has improved significantly. PowerCheck now shows 10 customers out in Carndonagh with an estimated restoration time of this evening at 9, and 12 in Ballyshannon with an estimated restoration time of around 6:30 on Friday. However, the Vice Chair of North West Macra, Quilly McCabe, says that whereas there has been progress, the government should have acted much faster. He says many people are still suffering as a result of their inaction. Foyle MLA Sinead McLaughlin says there are still questions to be asked about the circumstances surrounding the allocation of over £710,000 for sports and PE facilities at Lisneal College on the waterside, including the provision of a new football pitch. Questions were raised this week about the circumstances under which the decision was made, particularly at a time when a number of schools have serious structural issues that need to be addressed, but there's no funding available for them. The Education Minister said he had no role or involvement in the decision which was made by the Education Authority and suggested Ms McLaughlin review her focus as an MLA. Responding, Ms McLaughlin said there is no question of her concerns being rooted in politics or sectarianism. More on that on our website, highlandradio.com. And the Taoiseach says displacing Palestinian civilians would be in clear contradiction to UN Security Council resolutions. Simon Harris's comments come after Donald Trump said he would like to see the US take over Gaza and own it. The US president said he'd transform the area into the Riviera of the Middle East, while the 2 million Palestinian residents would go to areas of Egypt and Jordan. Simon Harris says international attention should be clearly focused on supporting the people of Gaza. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Thanks, Donald. And worth noting too, with the PowerCheck website, it doesn't show outages of under 10. So you could have...
Oh, there are very probably more. There are more families dotted here and there. Yes,
and
indeed, yeah.
And 6, and we're thinking of you too. Thanks so much, Donald. Okay, we're going to be getting some reaction from the Palestinian community to the suggestion from Donald Trump that America take it over and effectively ethnically cleanse Gaza of Palestinians and its population. We'll get some reaction to that in a moment.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and my umbrella. You see, Now Brief with Galaxy AI learns my schedule to keep me one step ahead of my day. Activity stats, my diary, transport updates, and the weather. Thanks, Now Brief. Pre-order the epic new Galaxy S25 Ultra at Samsung.com by the 6th of February and get 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Operates as a price discount. T's and C's apply. Samsung account login and network connection required.
Fadal Mossad joins me on the programme now. Fadal, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Greg, for having me on.
Right, we heard from Donald Trump yesterday. It's very hard to tell sometimes with him how much is off the cuff and how much is predetermined, but he unveiled a plan for the US to take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip. He effectively said that there's nothing there for anyone to go back to, that he would displace a population of 1.5 to 2 million people into Turkey or Jordan and effectively turn Gaza, into a holiday destination, the Riviera of the Middle East, $1 million shorefront properties, all under the ownership of the United States. We're used to hearing conversations about, 2-state, 3-state solutions and so on and so forth. And yet here we are. This is really quite a remarkable intervention from the most powerful man in the world.
Absolutely. But let's not ignore the fact that right beside him sitting is a convicted criminal charged by the highest court on the land, by the ICC, for genocide. And yet he sits there in the White House proud of his slaughtering and genocidal act of over 60,000 Palestinians so far, and over 70% of them are women and children. Now, Donald Trump is a racist, narcissistic person sitting beside a racist, narcissistic person. And God help us that these two people are now thinking of ethnically cleansing the Palestinian people from Gaza. And that is the pure definition of ethnic cleansing. It is the mass expulsion or killing of members of one ethnic or religious group in an area by another. It's a systematic forced removal. It's illegal, absolutely illegal. And the world should stand up to this illegal act. And you know, it's the hypocrisy is still going on, and it is shameful. It's a disgrace that the world still sits on its hands. The EU, Ireland, the UK, everybody. They've allowed Netanyahu to travel to Poland for the memorial of the Holocaust, while he is a convicted criminal by the International Criminal Court. I mean,
there are people.
What example are we given to the young generation about this?
I mean, there are people will disagree strongly with your framing of the characters of both individuals.
Who?
I don't know.
Which people, Greg?
People
Which
listening,
people?
Fidel. People listening, but some people listening. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm just trying to put that out there.
Yeah.
There was an irony in it as well, and quite interesting to see Donald Trump push the chair in behind Benjamin Netanyahu. I've not seen that kind of deference to someone ever before from a world leader, let alone Donald Trump. But he was talking of there's nothing to go back there, that it's rubble, and that it's not safe, and what have you. And yet the person responsible for that was sitting beside him, which was really quite remarkable. It's not like this happened by accident. The person responsible for that destruction was there.
With a smirk on his face. I mean, they're talking about that Gaza is occupied by its people. They're talking about ethnically cleansing Palestinians. Palestinians live in Palestine. They deserve to live in Palestine. They belong in Palestine. You know, they have survived over 100 years of ethnic cleansing and occupation and 15 months of a genocide. And then they're sitting there talking about, as if this all happened in a vacuum. And the person responsible for it, and a convicted criminal. Now, nobody disagrees that he's a convicted criminal, Greg. You know, you're telling me that people disagree. He has been convicted by the
I understand
International
that.
Criminal Court.
And I think too that people who would see themselves as critical thinkers need to think on this as well, because I'm not getting into the conversation now, but you could talk about Israel's attack on Gaza, and then someone might reference October 7th, which was horrendous, but then someone might say, well, it predates. But that I'm almost not putting that to one side, because what's happened is so horrendous. But people need to stop and think, if we're talking about a world leader going to the other side of the world and moving millions of people out of the country that they call home into other countries forcibly, effectively what could happen, if that's accepted, it could be anywhere next. Do you know what I mean? So regardless about the sort of ongoing debate that people may or may not have, this is something completely different. We're talking about something that could literally happen anywhere. We've seen Donald Trump's comments as it relates to Greenland and to Canada. We don't really know what we're facing into. I'm not trying to be, catastrophic in my description of it, but this is something that, regardless of people's general views, they need to look at and say, is this really where we want to go? Is this the kind of world that we want to live in now?
And this is exactly history repeating itself, because we remember what happened after the Second World War. We remember the world, the final solution. And this is exactly, it's applying right now. The final solution that Hitler wanted to do and to commit the crimes against the Jewish people. It's exactly the same now, where they're committing the crimes against the Palestinian people. So if it's happened before and it's happened again after so many years, I guarantee you it will happen again to any people. Imagine this is happening in Ireland. Imagine the UK comes in here and says, we're ethnically cleansing everybody from Ireland. Do you know that 3% of the population of Gaza has been slaughtered? That's 75,000 people. Imagine 3% of 6 million, which is nearly the population of Ireland. What is that? 180,000 people dead. The population of Letterkenny is what, 20,000, 30,000? 75,000 of Palestinians have been slaughtered in the past 15 months.
We don't know if...
And this is what we should talk about.
Of course, but we also have to... We have talked about that extensively on this programme, but we also have to talk to the future, and it's very hard to determine how serious Donald Trump is. Is he kite flying? Is it some sort of a negotiation tactic? But be that as it may... like as I said, we've already said, both of us said the world watches on, and my question was, Fidel, this is what I wanted to get to. You know, Palestinians can't actually resist this in a sense, okay? So you're going to rely on the international community to row in behind Palestine and oppose America in this situation. That's the only path I can see. But United States is so strong, and Donald Trump is so influential, and we've seen with the threat of tariffs left, right, and centre. My point is who is going to back the Palestinian people?
That's a great question, Greg. Who is going to back the Palestinian people except the Palestinian people themselves? You know, we've seen 15 months of genocide, and all of Europe and the EU and the UK and America and Ireland and everywhere else sit down on their hands and do nothing. Even they supplied them with weapons, tons and tons and tons of weapons, to kill 75,000, if not more, Palestinians. Let me tell you this: God is not a real estate agent, Greg. Okay, and neither is the most criminal, narcissistic leader of the empire. Palestinians belong to Palestine. They have survived all this, and they survived to stay. We have seen pictures of Palestinians in Gaza return to the north of Gaza, to their destroyed homes, and they're sweeping the floors of their completely destroyed homes and hospitals and schools. What does that mean to people? That they want to leave? That Donald Trump wants them to leave because of their safety? They don't care about their safety. They care about their land. They belong there, and they have to stay there. And if nobody else is going to stand up for the Palestinian people will stand up for themselves. Unfortunately, that's what happened on the 7th of October. But let's look back what happened before the 7th of October. You know, all the wars, all the lawn mowing that Israel has done to Gaza, 76 years. And now by the way, it's happening now in Jenin. It's happening now in the West Bank. Mm-hmm. And do you hear anything about it?
People also,
thousands of families have been ethnically cleansed from their homes in the West Bank.
Well,
houses have been destroyed.
We'd also note that obviously, you know, much of the Western world is against Russia and Vladimir Putin for the annexing of Crimea in 2014. The world stood by effectively whilst that happened, and it was also said yesterday that the US is given strong consideration to recognising the annexing of the West Bank as well, which is really not insignificant.
They're changing the whole narrative. I mean, the new ambassador to Israel is now denying the existence of West Bank. He's changing the language. He's denying that there's an occupation. You know, when people talk about, Israel has the right to defend itself, they're not defending themselves, Greg. Let's get this clear. They're defending an oppressive occupation, a racist regime, a Zionist regime that have existed for so many years, over 100 years. And that's what they're defending. They're not defending their people. They're creating more and more hate crimes against Jews in this world. That's what they're doing. And we have seen people from Jewish heritage stand up for the Palestinian people, and they've been called anti-Semites, and they've been called Jew haters as well. Now, what the hell are we living in? What world are we creating when people who want to stand up for justice and international human rights, they are slandered by hate. They're slandered and accused of being self-haters. Nobody deserves to live in this world.
At the end of the day, I mean, in interviews like this, obviously, I challenge points and put opposing points of view across, because that's what you need to do to be fair and balanced. But
can we challenge the facts?
But let me finish. Let me finish. Post October 7th, as horrendous as that was, and you could argue that a response was required. But what happened after that was collective responsibility. What happened to that was no cost was put on innocent Palestinian lives. If it meant getting one Hamas person and 400 civilians, women and children had to die, well, then so be it. And even in the last throes of the Israel activity in Gaza, it was effectively to flatten whatever was left between the ceasefire being agreed and actually kicking in. So it's very hard for me I can see it with my own eyes, and I've sourced information independently myself. it's very hard to see. As horrendous as October 7th was, what came after that was the annihilation of a country and the indiscriminate killing of women and children. And it's very hard for me to see it any other way, to be honest with you.
And also, what's horrendous is the over 100 years of oppression, of apartheid, of displacement, of refuge, of destruction of homes, of ethnic cleansing of 800,000 Palestinians back in 1948. That's also horrendous, Greg. So let's not ignore the history. Let's not ignore the fact. Let's not argue right and wrong on both sides. There's only one side here. There's a just side.
But one can't, of course, but one can't ignore the horrendous actions of October 7th. But it has to be framed in the wider context as well. And the one thing I will say, listeners to this show and the people of Donegal in general are, and the Northwest, are very aware of their history and what have you. I just wonder where this goes next because, as I say, who is going to stand up to the Trump administration if they pursue this? I know, say, for instance, one might say Iran might be inclined to, but we know the Americans and Israelis are looking for any excuse to go in and flatten that country as well. You just wonder what next. Turkey and Jordan, they're probably only holding out for a better deal for themselves and a slice of the Riviera in the Middle East. It's a very bleak. It's just amazing how the conversation has shifted now from two-state solutions, one-state solutions, and all the conversations that went before it to effectively, as you've described it, the ethnic cleansing of a people. It's a rapidly changing world we live in.
It is, and it's frightening. It's scary to raise kids in this type of world that we live in, to be honest. I work as a youth worker, and it's scary to imagine what these young people are looking at, what they're experiencing, what they're learning from these such leaders, racist, horrendous, hateful leaders that we have running the world. It's a crazy system, and it's frightening, to be honest. And I'm not a politician, Greg. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in a few years. I have no idea. But please, let's not talk about peace. Let's talk about the liberation of the Palestinian people first before peace, okay?
Okay.
Let's give them justice. Let's give them the right to exist.
All right.
And then give them liberation, and then we will show the world what we can do with our country.
All right, Fidel,
thanks
for your time. I do appreciate it. That's a Palestinian living in Donegal for some time now. Fidel Mossad, if you have a different point of view, get in touch, 086 60 25,000. And obviously a lot of people hold Donald Trump in high regard, and, I'm not American. But obviously you can't ignore when it has impacts around the world. And, a lot of people would see Elon Musk as a hero and the savior. But he's been given incredible unelected power. He's been given incredible access to people's private information, which is under the guise of allowing him to do his Doge work, right? But also at the end of the day, he's in a very competitive market and he's got access to everyone's private personal information through the Department of Health, the Department of Education, and so on and so forth. And would anyone in this country want a billionaire having all that information on them, especially when they ran one of the biggest tech companies in the world? It's a very strange old world we are living in.
The TUI sale is now on. Save up to an extra €250 per booking. All-inclusive holidays from €499 per person. Plus low booking deposits from €50 per person. Book now on app, online or in your local store. Holiday deal sorted. TUI, live happy. Offer terms and conditions apply.
Join me, Marty Friel, this and every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. If you're celebrating a birthday or a work night out, Arena 7 Entertainment Complex has it all. Check out arena7.ie.
Ah, that's the sound of Caller, of cosy movie nights in, shove over, of the post-match get the cold out of your showers, a fry-up on a Sunday morning. It's the sound of homes running on easy, efficient energy. And right now, homes not on the gas network can get a free boiler by switching from oil to Caller gas for their home energy and heating. So every day sounds a little more like this. Nice and toasty in here. Caller, the energy that connects us. Terms and conditions apply. See calorgas.ie for details.
If you have a cough, flu, sore throat, or if you're just feeling miserable, don't suffer through it. At McGee's Chemist, we have the expertise to help you feel better. Our pharmacists and experienced staff will recommend the most effective over-the-counter solutions and give advice on how best to manage your symptoms. At McGee's, we have a wide range of trusted brands and products to help you recover. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now, 21 minutes past 11. Don't forget, coming up between now and 12, we're going to be joined by Chris Ashmore. But I've two in-studio guests with me now. We've got Kate Hennessy, artist and author of Dorothy Day, The World Will Be Saved by Beauty. Good morning to you, Kate. Thanks so much for calling in to us.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
We also have Brother Aid Green, director of a project which we're going to be talking about in Ards. Aid, thank you so much for your time. Right, okay, so where do we start? Do we talk about the retreat? Do we talk about Dorothy? Kate?
Well, both subjects are my favorite, among my favorite. I'll talk about Dorothy first because I think so much of what I do comes from who she was and growing up with her. Dorothy Day was an extraordinary person, and for those of you who don't know her, she is in the process of being considered for canonization, and that process is quite far along and very exciting. What she did, she changed the face of American Catholicism. I think it's safe to say, in that she was a convert. She became a Catholic in I'm going to test my history. 1928, she became a Catholic. And she came from a very interesting background, a very radical background, a very political background, a very active background. She was a journalist, and she was very much in the world of New York City of the 1920s, which was an amazing place that really, really was alive with new art, new music, new thinking, new politics, and she was part of that. And then she became a Catholic, which completely surprised everyone. And she wanted to wed her Catholicism and her activism, her belief in the struggles of people in a way that made sense to her. And she, with the help of another fellow, Peter Moran, started a movement called the Catholic Worker Movement, which began during the Depression, the Great Depression, in which hundreds and thousands of people were out of work. And they started houses of hospitality, which provided food, clothing, and shelter for people in need. And that movement is worldwide now. There are over 200 houses of hospitality around the world, mostly in the U.S., and she's been dead since 1980, and there's no slowing down.
No, and in fact, she established a newspaper as well. It was a co-founder of a newspaper, 1933, and she worked on that newspaper right up until her passing.
Yes, she did. As I mentioned, she was a journalist, so that was how she worked. That was her vocation. Writing was her vocation. And she started the Catholic Worker newspaper, penny a copy, started selling it on Union Square, next to the communists who were, selling the Daily Worker, and they were out there selling the Catholic Worker. And to this day, the Catholic Worker paper is still being published, and it's still a penny a copy. And she did write for it. Well, she was really the publisher, editor, writer for many, many years. But even until her death in 1980, she was putting out a regular column. And
her life, her story, of course, as you've mentioned, the Catholic Church have opened the cause for Day's possible canonization. But for some time now, she had caught the attention of the hierarchy, so to speak, and her journey became, an example of what other people can achieve.
Absolutely. She is, I think one of the things, her strengths, she had many strengths, she was an amazing woman, is that she would say, we all can do this. We are all called to be saints. And I can't say I know exactly what she meant by that, but she did believe that we all have a role to play and to help make a world where it's easier to be good, is one of her favorite phrases. And we can all do that in the simplest of ways. She, even though she thought big, and let me tell you, she did think big, she also understood the nature, the power of small steps that each of us can make in being generous, in being hospitable, in being kind to one another.
She may well become a saint. I wonder, would she be more comfortable with her current title as Servant of God?
I don't know. I can't, she said famously that, don't call me a saint. I don't want to be dismissed so easily.
Okay.
And people have been chewing on that. They say, well, then she, of course, then we can't make her a saint. But the fact of the matter is, she was saying something very specific, which is, don't let me do all the work. You have to do the work also.
Before we bring Brother Aid in, she was also identified as one of 4 very important people in the United States. Spanning what period of time, Kate?
The period of time of her life?
Yeah, no, so she was identified as one of 4 people. Americans, one of 4 people. I read it a little bit earlier on, but I've lost it here now. But one of 4 people who had contributed greatly to the Catholic faith.
Right. That was Pope Francis when he spoke in front of Congress in 2015. He listed her as one of the 4 most influential.
What an amazing... And this is are we talking about your grandmother here?
My grandmother.
Wow, you must be incredibly proud.
Well, she kind of knocks you for a loop when you know her personally. As I mentioned, she was an incredibly powerful person with deep presence. And I knew her well until I was 20, which was when she died. And to have known her really is to spend the rest of your life trying to figure out what hit you.
And is that through, typical grandmother traits or something completely different? Or
she was not a typical grandmother. She was very much involved with my family. My mother was her only daughter, and my mother had 9 children, of which I'm the youngest. And my grandmother was there for us all through our growing up.
Mike, the timelines are blowing my head off here because you don't seem old enough to be her granddaughter, if that makes sense. And you talk of remembering her as you approach 20. It's throwing my head off a little bit. But it's great to see you looking so well and in such good health outwardly, in any case. Brother Aid Green, what a remarkable lady. Firstly, of course, Kate, because it's great to hear directly from someone who knew someone so special, right? And has that connection, but also the DNA connection, all of that kind of stuff. But also to hear of Dorothy Day too. I love hearing about people like this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been a great privilege for us to have Kate staying with us in Ards and sort of helping us along. And I mean, that's been in terms of kind of what she's been able to do on site or whatever, but also in a sense bringing Dorothy into our world, because there's always this thing about the saints that, especially the ones that are closer to us, they tell us something about what it means to be a good person. So they reflect something of God, they reflect something of Jesus in the modern world. And I think that Dorothy was very Franciscan. I think that she had caught the same sort of insights that St. Francis had caught, and that Pope Francis is also sort of trying to help us to move along. So there are some great sort of reflections, resonances between what Dorothy, I think, was trying to do and what we're trying to do in our own sort of sort of little and humble, modest way in Ards.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, as was recognised, you can look to her journey towards faith, and you can, put that in a modern context and reach new people. You, along with Kate, and this is the one of the main reasons we're speaking to you, are organising a retreat later this month. Talk to me a little bit about that, Brother Aid.
Well, actually, I'm not involved with Kate.
Shall we defer to Kate on this?
Yes.
Are there two retreats?
There are two retreats.
Okay. Well, should we talk about yours first?
Yeah, so the retreat that we're doing is part of a larger kind of project within the overall arts project, which I wouldn't mind talking to you a bit about before we finish.
No, I'll tell you. Do you want to start there and then move into the retreat?
Okay, yeah. So over the last 5 to 6 years, what we've come to understand in our own context is what we can do to renew our life and mission in Ards Friary.
Mhm.
I think there's a huge amount of love for Ards Friary everywhere. I mean, it's worldwide. People know about us and they want to come and see us and be with us. And part of that has been how we match, or how we bring in kind of ecology into spirituality, and how we make that Franciscan. So one big aspect of that is our farm, Joy Farm, as we've called it. The purpose of Joy Farm is going to be, our aim is to be producing food for people in Donegal that are experiencing food insecurity and food poverty. So a massive bulk, most of our food will be going to food banks and day centres within the Donegal area. So that's one way that we're trying to respond to what Pope Francis called the cry of the poor. And the cry of the earth, because we're doing that organically and we're doing that regeneratively. So we're trying to do the best practice possible for our land. Another aspect of that is our retreat centre. We're really committed to continuing our retreat programme, our retreat offering. We host retreats, we also trying to do something different with the way that we give retreats. So bringing in nature and ecology and things like that into our spirituality. That is involving a renovation of our retreat centre, because it was built in the 1970s and hasn't had a huge amount done to it since then, so it needs modernising. And actually into the very near future, at some point we will have to look to renovate and do a big renovation, and actually we need help with that through donations. Financially, we are looking at how we can finance the bulk of it ourselves. But
look at whatever revenue streams might be there through schemes or grants as well.
And also we will be putting out a number of appeals and doing fundraising.
Yeah, we look forward to speaking to that. So you have a weekend retreat of poetry, music, silence and conversation from the 14th to the 16th of February. Who goes on these retreats? Is it locals? Is it people from the county? Do people fly in for them?
Yes.
All of the above?
All of the above.
Okay.
So we have a number of people that fly in from Scotland on various retreats. We've had people come all the way from Australia for certain retreats.
But do people be
America.
retreatists? Like this is how they sort of get through life? Or do people have things going on in their life and this is a way of maybe connecting with spiritually? Or I just wonder who the market is. I don't want to commercialise it, right? But you know what I mean? I'm just curious
I understand. I think actually it tends to be people that are quite serious about their spiritual life.
Okay, they're there already almost.
Yeah, and would maybe have a kind of practice of taking at least one retreat a year as something. We also, well-being is a big part of the retreats that we host. We don't give them ourselves, but we host other people's. So it's people that are interested.
Isn't it funny that kind of in the modern world to get a break, we're going back to really what we forgot, isn't it? Our relationship with the land, our relationship with ourselves, our surroundings. It's funny that we actually try and get snippets of that where that was quite common practice previously, not too long ago either.
And I think retreats offer you the opportunity, and they offer, what we try to do is we try to create spaces for encounter with ourselves, human need, with God, with land, with others. And I think that that's what people get from retreats.
Another thing I wasn't aware of is when we talk about it, it's like, there's a package there, again, not to commercialise it, but I don't think maybe everybody realises, because I think I'm quite normal and not everyone knows about this stuff. But, it's in terms of your activities whilst you're there, there's accommodation involved, so you take an awful lot of the stuff that people might have to worry about to take part in this. You do that.
Yeah, and that's part of that creating the space for people. It's we're holding that space for people by we have we have a number of really great cooks, so the food is always commented on. It's probably the biggest thing that we get in feedback. The food was great.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure there's it's up there. But I'm sure the spiritual engagement with you, Brother Aid's up there as well.
That's part of it, isn't it? We want to create a homely space where people can come and they can kick off their shoes and their work boots, and they can put on a pair of slippers, and they can just encounter themselves. They can encounter the land.
Physically, mentally, spiritually recharged, I presume. Kate, talk to me about Spiritual Hunger and the Artistic Soul Retreat. This is at the same time, am I correct? This is Friday the 14th to Sunday 16th of February also. I just want to make sure I've got my notes correct. Here it is. Kate, what is your offering?
Well, I'm probably not as quite high-minded as Brother Aid. I am an artist. I love paint. I love color. And I also believe so strongly that looking at the world through the artist's eye, we really come to a greater understanding of ourselves and our relationship with however we see our spirit or the Holy Spirit or God or divine spirit, however we define this. I think I certainly know, and seen and have spoke to people, I think there is a deep desire for people to explore the meaning of their own lives and to feel that their lives have meaning and to feel that that they are alive. And as an artist, I believe so much in the power of art to help us break through our verbalization of everything. And
it's a different way to express, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not only, art is, of course...
Or an additional way, actually, perhaps, not different.
Yes. Art is expression, but it also can go into a deeper level in which things come out that you did not expect.
Given that how into this you are, do you find, or maybe you do, as part of it, interpret people's work?
No. Oh, I do not do that.
Casually? Can you?
Casually. Only if they ask me.
Okay. I'm not saying you're looking over people's shoulders going, no, not good.
Oh, God, why are you here?
But you make it as easy as possible again, in that, if I'm correct, you provide materials and what have you, and guidance, and you can talk of Dorothy and it's described as the Spiritual Hunger and the Artistic Soul Retreat, led by Kate, who we're chatting to, Kate Hennessy, who's granddaughter of Doris Day. It runs from the 14th to the 16th of February at Ards Friary, and explore your spiritual voice through painting, drawing and writing in a reflective, intimate setting. And you can get more information at info@ardsfriary.ie. It must be great, or maybe it's not, but I presume it is when you meet the people for the first time and working them out and connecting and understanding and learning or educating. It must be a nice thing.
Absolutely.
That human interaction, if you get where
Absolutely.
I'm coming from.
That's the reason to do it, isn't it? To get like-minded people to gather together and discuss these thorny questions, that we all love.
And Brother Aid has been talking of, and it's in the context of the month of Bridget, of course, a weekend retreat of poetry, music, silence and conversation. Take time to welcome the light of healing, creativity and new growth. Again, any information on that, info@ardsfriary.ie. Brother Aid, we're blessed, aren't we, to have these things on our doorstep. I imagine often maybe someone, if was listening to this interview, if we were in Germany, for an example, they might go, wow, okay, I would dream of doing that. But maybe cannot make it work. Yet here we are with this fantastic thing on our doorstep, and people like yourself with a vision for the future as well, and what arts is and what it can become, an ambition, which I'm presume you have the hand of God on your shoulder too. You're guided in much of this, I would hope, Brother Aid.
We all hope that. I mean, there's no way to tell for sure, I suppose. But you're right.
It's called faith, brother.
Oh, yeah, faith. That's the one. Yes. No, but I mean, you do. Thomas Merton, who was one of the other four that was mentioned with Dorothy,
of the influential Americans.
He has this beautiful vocation prayer where he says, "I do what I do because I love you, and I'm sure that I love you." But actually, you can never be too sure that you're doing the right thing. But you're right. You put one step ahead of each other in faith that this is going to work. And And the in-bulk retreat that we're doing on the 14th, myself, Brother Philip, a man called John Keane from Dublin, that's around welcoming the light. It's about hope. Because the whole of the spring, what's happening in the landscape is about hope. You know, I really like the snowdrops are out, but they don't stay out forever.
No.
You know, they're not spring. They're signs of spring. So it's the signs of hope. And I think in the world that we live in at the moment, being able to recognize those signs of hope's really important.
Okay, yeah, allowing ourselves to actually see them and enjoy them. I think sometimes too people have a bit of guilt of being hopeful. It can be hard. There can be hard emotions too. It depends on people's personalities, but there is always hope. And those new bulbs and what comes from them show. Two fantastic opportunities for you. Even if it means just going from your own local area, why not? ardsfriary.ie is the website. We'll link this stuff on our socials, but also if you're interested in either of these two retreats, and both have a great deal to offer, info@ardsfriary.ie. Kate Hennessy, it's been lovely speaking to you. It's been lovely learning a little bit more about Dorothy Day.
Thank you.
And also Brother Aid Green, whenever you wish to come back, you're always welcome here, of course.
Thank you.
And it's wonderful to see such ambition and plans for a real jewel in the jewel of our crown. Thank you both very much indeed.
At DoorTech Garage Door Systems in Kilmacrennan, we specialise in the supply and installation of all types of industrial roller doors and garage doors. Whether for your home, business or farm, our doors offer the security you need. For premium quality doors, call DoorTech on 91 or visit doortech.ie.
On the 7th of February, the speed limit on many rural local roads will be reduced from 80 to 60 kilometres per hour. As speed contributes to a third of fatal collisions, this greatly reduces the risk of death and keeps everyone on the roads safer. Your local authority has implemented the 80 to 60 kilometre reduction on your road network. Slower speeds, safer roads. Visit gov.ie/speed limits. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
This Valentine's Day, let the one you love unwrap Lindor. Irresistibly smooth melting chocolate from the Lindt Master Chocolatier. You choose the moment, we'll provide the bliss. Lindor from Lindt.
When it's confirmation time, it's time for a trip to Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Choose from a great selection of top label, casual and formal wear. Blazers and jackets with shirts to match. Denims, chinos and footwear from big names like Diesel, Cavani and Tommy Bow. Buy your confirmation outfit at Watson Menswear and one lucky person will get their money back. Stand out on the big day at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. Amazing prices on made-to-order kitchens, sliding wardrobes and much more. Don't miss your chance to transform your home at unbeatable prices. Book your appointment today at cherrymore.ie or call 07497 25822. Cherrymore, 28 years of adding quality and value to your home.
iMotors are now carrying the largest range of pre-owned cars in the Northwest.
Don't settle for just any car. Choose the one that suits your style and budget.
Visit imotors.ie to explore our extensive range with 20 plus brands to choose from and find your next car today.
Or call into our showroom in Letterkenny or Malin.
iMotors, fearless generation.
We all want to keep children safe online. Webwise works to support young people, parents and teachers. Get involved in Safer Internet Day this February the 11th. Visit webwise.ie for helpful guides, talking points, free resources on image sharing, gaming, social media and more. Brought to you by Webwise and Cumashún na Meán.
Set sail on your dream holiday with Royal Caribbean and Atlantic Travel, Royal Caribbean's official booking agent in Donegal. Explore stunning destinations, indulge in luxurious onboard experiences and create memories to treasure forever. Visit atlantictravel.ie today. Your Royal Caribbean adventure awaits.
My home is my castle, my sing in the shower place or work in my undies place. My pizza for breakfast, cornflakes for dinner place. My home is my me place.
With AXA Home Insurance, you can protect the place where you can truly be yourself.
and get 24-hour emergency home assistance as standard. Get a quote online or call into your local branch. AXA. No, you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. AXA Insurance Stock is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Irish National Opera presents Johann Strauss's sparkling comedy opera Die Fledermaus in Angrienen Theatre on Saturday the 15th of February. From the composer of The Blue Danube, Die Fledermaus is full of catchy tunes, with champagne-soaked revelry, hilarious twists and Viennese charm. For one night only. Tickets from €29 from angrienen.com. Booking fees may apply. Funded by the Arts Council.
iMotors are now carrying the largest range of pre-owned cars in the Northwest.
Don't settle for just any car. Choose the one that suits your style and budget.
Visit imotors.ie to explore our extensive range with 20 plus brands to choose from and find your next car today.
Or call into our showroom in Letterkenny or Malin.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our new season special occasion wear range is here. Visit us to explore our extensive dress collection in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Okay, the weather for the rest of the day is going to be a pattern over the next few days. Largely bright and sunny with light winds, a little cloud drifting in at times during the afternoon with perhaps the odd shower, but most places staying dry. Temperature 7 to 9 degrees. Chilly overnight, but more of this sort of settled weather for the next few days, at least, which is to be welcomed.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Good morning, Chris Ashmore. Welcome into studio.
Good morning, Greg Hughes.
Good to have you with us. It is the day we publish the Business Matters podcast from Highland Radio on our website, but we also use it as an opportunity to get Chris in to get a bit of news off him. And interesting reading from the Údarás na Gaeltachta report, Chris.
Yes, the report, the annual report for 2024 is out. Nationally, 2,647 people working in Donegal in Údarás na Gaeltachta client companies. 72 new jobs approved in the Donegal Gaeltacht last year. Now, the overall numbers in firms that are backed by Údarás in the county were down by 3%, but there's a number of new jobs expected to come on stream this year. And interesting to note sort of the areas that they're involved in, Greg. There's a new company, Carail Vic Gila Tiranta in Gweedore and also in Crawley, and it's involved in concrete manufacturing products. Currently employs about 30 people, hoping that'll go up to 52. Then there's a small company, Tiha Biaga Tiranta, which is in the business park down in Gweedore. They're involved in modular house and micro house manufacturing. And indeed, there's another company, CEH Tiranta, which is also doing modular house manufacturing, and it's anticipated that up to 20 people will be employed there. So all sort of construction, housing related.
Good steady long-term jobs as well. And I think the launch report was used as a reminder that we need to get our finger out in terms of our infrastructure, because this west-east divide in terms of our resilience to storms, not good. If you're looking to attract businesses, you need to be able to prove that you've got a good, steady electrical infrastructure as well. So an opportune time to mention that. You talked of housing developments. We've mentioned it before. We are starting to see commencements and progress in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, look, if anything related to housing, in terms of employment, the prospects looking very good the next 10 years, because be it the construction, look at all the spin-off jobs, carpets, paint, windows, anything that's related to housing. We're going to be having people, it's going to take us 10, maybe, who knows, 20 years to catch up with the demand there. So it's a good sector to be in on the employment front.
Yeah, and if your young ones are looking at third level, I'll tell you, there's some work to be had there. New car sales. Didn't see this
back
coming.
to your usual topic, Greg.
You bring it up every month.
Now and again. Well, January's a big month in the car business because people like to get that 251 reg, as it is in this case. But interestingly, nationally, new car sales were up 7% in January. Well, I should say new car registrations, to be absolutely correct. Here in Donegal, 835 new vehicles registered, up 9% on last year. So it's a sign of a good economy when they're going the right way.
PCPs maybe. It could be
there's a lot on PCP.
It could be a 3-year cycle as well too.
But significantly, new electric car registrations nationally were up about 20%, and in Donegal up 33.9%. Now, look, a relatively small base from 59 to 79, but after a few bumps in the road, so to speak, last year.
If they get the infrastructure sorted out, there's never been more electric cars. Now, you've seen electric cars at the same list price as hybrid or petrols. So, but I was driving into work today, funny enough, and I thought, why do people not produce a car with your 500-kilometre range, an electric car, but have a really small petrol engine in it?
Well,
with a 10-litre, 20-litre tank, I don't know what it might be, to eliminate the anxiety range.
Yeah,
so it's primarily electric. You drive it all the time with electric, but you've almost got like a take-me-home engine. Yeah. With the modern design, it can't be too difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, that's interesting, and it's good to see it. It's interesting to see a bounce back. What's the breakdown of the different?
This is touching on what you've just said there. Petrol's still the most popular, 28% of the new car sales in Donegal in January. Hybrid, 26%. So it looks as if it's not going to be too far away that hybrid will be the most popular choice. Petrol, it used to be not too long ago 50-60%, and our old diesel friends down under 20%. So there's a big shift.
It's hard to get a straight diesel engine now.
They're getting fewer and fewer indeed.
SSE Electricity.
Yeah, just wanted to mention a couple of other things, Greg. SSE Electricity are going to go ahead with they've plans for a 300 million power station down in Tarbert in Kerry. There's been a plant down there for years, over 50 years old. But the significant thing about this is that the new power plant will use sustainable biofuel. So that is a taste of things to come. Also to mention this week, I don't know if you've been into your local public house and bought a pint since the increase went up, but we're now talking about a lot of places 30 cent on the pint of Guinness. In Belfast, you can pay £7 for a pint in a hotel, and in the Temple Bar area, Greg, the €10 pint is here.
Well, firstly, I'm not in Belfast. I'm not in Dublin, and I'm in a position where I don't drink enough really anymore for it to have any material impact.
It's getting expensive,
like if I get out and have 3-4 pints, if I'm a good boy. So it's not. I know, say, people drink in different ways. It would be more impactful. Right. Okay. On to the show.
Yes, on the show this week. Well, the countdown is on to the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards.
I'm kind of disappointed this year because I'm presenting again this year, and the last awards. McElhenny's in Ballybofey were involved in that, and they dressed us up, so I looked the absolute best, right? So I'm now a bit nervous that I'm going to have to dress myself for the Highland Radio Awards, and it is highly competitive how you look.
Pressure on, Greg. So pressure on.
I'm going to have to seriously start working on an outfit.
Yeah, so they're on the beginning of March in Jackson's Hotel. There's a short list there. If you go to the Highland Radio website, you can find out all the different nominations. So to find out more, and in particular about how the voting goes and who's judging it, I've been speaking with Sean Quinn, head of sales here at Highland Radio, and he's so upbeat about the forthcoming awards.
The prestige of the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards again is bigger than I had anticipated, and the reaction that we've had from the businesses in the lead up to it has been phenomenal as well, and that's credit to what we delivered last year, and I'm sure we will deliver even bigger and better this year. But I totally agree with you. It's great to be recognised. And when if somebody's in scrolling and they're looking at things and saying, where's that business? I must go and try that. They must be good because they've been shortlisted. So there's no losers here. I think everybody's a winner. And I said that last year in the room, that everybody sitting here tonight is a winner because you've been shortlisted by your customers, our listeners. So you're doing something right.
Can't believe you got him to get all that out in 46 seconds. Normally it takes me 20 minutes to drag that out of him.
The full interview
I'm only
is
joking,
a bit longer.
Sean, you're fantastic. I'm only messing. He and all of us here at Highland Radio put so much effort into that. It is, folks, an amazing night out, and we look forward to seeing all of those shortlisted in Jackson's in Ballabouvet, which I hadn't gone to an event before, and it's wonderful. The staff are wonderful. The owners actually are the listen to the show as well too. Lovely, down to earth people, but creating so much employment, investing so much in the region. Fair play to them. Just to say, voting will close on the 10th of February, and the event itself the 2nd of March. Rightio, Stone, yes. Sean Peoples from Drumkeen spent some time in Canada, got into the whole stoneworks business. He was based down in County Meath, came back up to Donegal, particularly focusing on the use of slate. And you know, Greg, you go around any county now, you see a lot of nice new modern houses, and there's a little bit of slate maybe near the front door or at a side annex. It's become a very popular form of decorative work in many cases. He uses slate quarried in St. Johnston, and business is going really well. That's Sean again. Here's another Sean.
I specialise in two things. Slate is a big seller for me. I also do a lot of restoration work. But how it began, I basically went to Canada, and we started out there in Canada doing stonework, and we started up a company, and then was at that for 10 years. We moved back to Ireland, and I completed the work on Centre Parks in Ballymahon and Longford. We done all the stonework there, and then basically I moved from Navan, where I was living, back to Donegal again, where I'm from, and we moved back and started doing slate, and we specialised in slate, and have been doing so since.
More from the two Seans on the podcast, available for you today on our website, highlandradio.com. It's on Sunday evening as well, Chris. Yes, after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday. And your email address? businessmatters@highlandradio.com. Have a fantastic Wednesday, everyone. Stay tuned. Michaela Clark is around the Northwest after we take a break.